Chapter 30. Rank 2 Son of Chaos. His original body has reached rank 5. A Son of Chaos who could live to rank 5 would certainly not have a low cultivation. It was no wonder that he had a high-grade saint technique. Tsing Hui's gaze fell on Xen Long. Xen Long hurriedly said, "My inheritance came from the Golden Light Vagabond. He is an eternal life stage 4th stage evil cultivator, and his fame is illustrious. He once single-handedly challenged a branch of the Jin Wu religion, one of the 10 sacred sects, and killed the branch's sect master and high priest, 2 eternal life stage 4th stage evil cultivators. Hundreds of priests and deacons died at his hands, and small countries like the Lorraine Kingdom could be annihilated with a flip of his hand. He has fought for 300 years, and the treasures he has accumulated are astronomical. Even if I only obtain a portion of them, this portion will still allow Prince Tsing Hui's wealth to reach the level of a high-grade deacon of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. I will use these treasures to buy my life. With these treasures and the Tai sword, you will very likely awaken on your own. At that time, you will also have a temple master-level existence as your master." Looking at Xen Long, Tsing Hui thought of Zhui Yunqing. He had fused with Cho Tsing Hui and owed the Zhou family a favor. If he gave a rank 2 Son of Chaos to Zhui Yunqing, it could be considered as repaying the favor. But a rank 2 Son of Chaos is too low. Tsing Hui immediately made a decision. Xen Long noticed the change in Tsing Hui's expression and became extremely nervous. Tsing Hui's next decision was enough to determine his life or death. "You can keep your rank as a Son of Chaos, but everything you have will belong to me. In addition, as I said, I need someone to do things for me. Good. I can give you everything, and I can swear that from now on, I will follow Prince Tsing Hui's orders. If Prince Tsing Hui tells me to go east, I will not go west." Xen Long immediately agreed. However, he had already made up his mind to leave the Lorraine Kingdom as soon as he had the chance. He would never return. Tsing Hui couldn't capture Xen Long, but that didn't mean that Nayland Fei behind Tsing Hui couldn't do the same. Staying here was simply seeking death. As long as he could preserve his life, with a Tier 2 Son of Chaos as his foundation, it wouldn't be difficult for him to cultivate to the immortality stage. Once he reached the immortality stage, wouldn't he be like a fish in the sea, a bird flying freely in the sky? In the future, if his cultivation reached a certain level, he could return to the Hunyuan Heaven sect to find Tsing Hui and avenge today's humiliation. Empty words have no proof. Prince Tsing Hui wants to make a written contract? "Send. We'll do it right away." Xen Long hurriedly agreed. Everything should be done to stabilize Tsing Hui. Written contract. To many people, the written agreement is completely useless, but to the Son of Chaos, I believe in the Chaos Oath more than the written agreement. Chaos Oath? The Chaos Oath can only be made between Sons of Chaos. At this point, Xen Long's eyes suddenly widened. "You're also a Son of Chaos." For a moment, he felt his brain go blank. "I need you to make a Chaos Oath with 50 Taoist rhymes. The Son of Chaos you inherited is a Tier 5 Son of Chaos, and the Tier 2 Son of Chaos will be converted into 50 Taoist rhymes. You can definitely pay for it. Make the oath or die. You don't have a third choice. 50 Taoist rhymes." If he wanted to violate the Chaos Oath, he would have to pay 10 times the value of the Taoist rhymes. 50 Taoist rhymes. The price of violating the oath was 500 Taoist rhymes, which was equivalent to 5 Chaos ranks. Even if Xen Long sold himself, he wouldn't be worth that much. A Son of Chaos. Tsing Hui in front of him was also a Son of Chaos. This time, he really wanted to roar and fight Tsing Hui to the death. However, if he really did that, he would definitely pay the price with his life. Who would be willing to die if they could live? I don't want to repeat myself a third time. I'm willing to make a Chaos Oath. Xen Long lowered his head and said, "Go to the Chaos Temple and meet at the 132 pillars in the main hall." After Tsing Hui finished speaking, he looked at Xen Long and waited for him to enter the Chaos Temple. Only then did he split a part of his attention and step into the Chaos Temple. Amidst the primordial chaos, a part of Tsing Hui's mind had already appeared in his personal space in the Chaos Temple. Compared to the blank space before, there were now some living tools in it. These were the things Tsing Hui had prepared for living in the forest for half a year. After a glance, he directly left his personal space and came to the huge main hall. The main hall was still bustling with people. This world was vast and spanned tens of millions of miles. Even if there were only a few hundred Sons of Chaos on each continent and these Sons of Chaos were not in the main hall 99% of the time, the main hall was still filled with people. Tsing Hui walked for a while and came to the 132 pillars in the main hall. Here, a man who looked slightly different from Xen Long was already waiting. Prince Tsing Hui? When he saw Tsing Hui arrive, Xen Long somewhat helplessly called out to him, "Let's make the oath." Yes. At this moment, Xen Long could only accept his fate and make the Chaos Oath. If he died, everything would be over. Only if he lived would there be hope. Even though the chances of obtaining 500 Taoist rhymes seemed so slim, after making the oath under the witness of the Chaos Temple, the two of them left the Chaos Temple. When you tried to kill me, you should have considered this outcome. Now that you're still alive, you're in a much better situation than me. Yes. Xen Long put away his frowning expression, accepting his fate as he replied, "The things I obtained from Golden Light Wanderer are all hidden in my personal space." With that, he took out the items that belonged to the vagabond Golden Light from his personal space. There were 3 bottles of elixirs, a book, a level 3 offensive weapon, and a level 4 flying sword. Golden Light Vagabond died in a bloody battle with his opponent. His main divine weapon and armor were both destroyed. He only managed to preserve his life by relying on this 4th grade flying sword. This 4th grade flying sword and that 3rd grade divine weapon both have Golden Light Vagabond's spiritual imprint. I spent 3 years and only managed to erase 60% of the spiritual imprint in the 3rd grade divine weapon. Level 3 weapon. Tsing Hui immediately held the level 3 weapon in his hand. However, when he held the level 3 weapon, he could clearly feel a repulsive force coming from the weapon. This was because the Vagabond Golden Light's spiritual imprint had yet to completely dissipate. The 4th stage of the immortal realm was the unity of spirit and chi. Spirit and chi could be separated from the body and exist for a long time. Some peak-level unity of spirit and chi cultivators could attach a strand of their chi to their disciples. It was like a clone that could appear at a crucial moment to kill the enemy. The spiritual imprint of a unity of spirit and chi cultivator who had died 3 years ago was still so stubborn. It could be seen how powerful he was. A level 3 divine weapon. It can increase one's attack by 9 to 18 levels. The sword chi contained in the divine weapon can even kill an awakening realm expert on the spot. Xen Long has only had this sword for a short time, so he hasn't truly mastered it. Once he does, the outcome of today's life and death battle will be reversed. Tsing Hui carefully sensed the terrifying sword chi contained in the weapon and became vigilant. In this world, powerful beings were as common as clouds. Because of the existence of the Chaos Divine Palace, countless people had been blessed with opportunities. Secret magics were everywhere, and divine weapons were everywhere. Even a nobody could kill an opponent who was 1 level or even several levels higher than himself with the help of divine magics and divine weapons. He needed to return to Earth and keep his appointment with Ning Ji. He couldn't die on the way back. Be careful. If there was any danger, he must remember to kill as soon as possible. Xen Long didn't know what had happened to Tsing Hui, but he clearly sensed that his aura was more dangerous than before. He immediately told him all the treasures he had obtained from the Golden Light Cultivator. The Golden Light Cultivator's things are here. Inheriting the Chaos level doesn't mean inheriting the items in one's personal space. The real treasures on the Golden Light Cultivator have disappeared. However, he hid the things he collected in one place. We can go and find them when we're stronger. The treasures I mentioned before are also those. Tsing Hui nodded. However, the treasures of a big evil cultivator were bound to be dangerous. Tsing Hui didn't plan to take the risk. What he needed to do now was to comprehend the rock invincible skill and combine it with the Dongyang Sword Codex as the foundation to try to self-awaken and step into the immortal realm. Chapter 31. The Great One Sword and the Rock Invincibility Technique. The Great One Sword belonged to the 9-Sword Sage, and it contained sword intent. The nine-sword sage awakened his dual meridians and became the #1 true disciple of the Shenshao sword sect. The rock invincibility technique belonged to the golden light cultivator, who relied on this technique to awaken his rock bloodline. He could come and go as he pleased in dangerous places, and he became a great evil. Any one of these two treasures would be enough to tempt immortal-level powerhouses, and they might even fight each other. However, they belonged to Tsing Hui now. As Tsing Hui comprehended the sword intent in the Great One Sword, the terrifying comprehension ability brought about by his rank 4 comprehension was immediately revealed. He understood all the mysteries in the Great One Sword. He used the Dongyang Sword Codex as the foundation of his cultivation, and he already had the embryonic form of sword intent. If he were to comprehend the Great One Sword again, the sword intents in it would conflict with each other, but his rank 4 comprehension allowed him to turn it into something magical. He was unable to cultivate the sword intent within the Great One Sword, but he could borrow the sword intent within the Great One Sword for his own use, tempering and stimulating his own sword intent. Through the collision of the two completely different sword intents, he could create a brief spark of sword intent, allowing Qing Su's understanding of his own Eastern Yang sword intent to deepen. As a result, although it would deplete the sword intent within the Great One Sword, his own understanding of the Eastern Yang sword intent would increase with each passing day. Previously, the East Sun sword intent could only be condensed in his spiritual world when his fighting spirit was boiling and his essence, energy, and spirit were stimulated to the extreme. At this moment, the East Sun sword intent that was derived from the East Sun sword technique in his mind was like a rising sun that emitted a blazing light that illuminated the surroundings. As soon as the sword intent appeared, it was like the rising sun, illuminating the heavens and destroying everything. It fully displayed the domineering sharpness of the Dongyang Sword Codex. In just 3 short days, his understanding of the Dongyang sword intent had reached a higher level. In addition to the sword intent, the heavenly Peng unhindered art had also opened up an unprecedented world of cultivation for him. In China on Earth, the martial saint realm was the limit that cultivators could reach. Everyone was bound by the shackles of the human body. No matter how strong they were, there was a limit to how strong they could be. Even for martial saints who could break through their limits and release their bodies, there was still a limit to their growth. The restrictions of their life forms made it a miracle for them to reach the first, second, and third stages of release. If they forcefully released their bodies, it would only lead to the collapse of their genes and the disintegration of their lives. However, the cultivators in this world all had unimaginable potential. Once their bloodline was awakened, it would be as if they had returned to their ancestors. They would transform into primordial beasts, spirit beasts, saint beasts, and divine beasts. Their potential for growth was immeasurable and limitless. The Sky Peng unhindered art, roaming dragon sea suppressing art, azure dragon true technique, true black hole technique, and other techniques were the keys to awakening the bloodline. Bloodline difference. The bloodline of the humans on Earth originates from apes, but the cultivators of this world originate from ancient creatures. Tsing Hui finished reading the heavenly Peng unhindered art. All kinds of techniques related to the heavenly Peng unhindered art flashed through his mind. When cultivating the heavenly Peng unhindered art, one needed to visualize the heavenly Peng in one's mind and imitate the heavenly Peng in one's words and actions. One also needed to consume the heavenly Peng's food as the main ingredient. Using one's mind as the guide, one would mold the heavenly Peng's divine soul. Then, using one's body as the supplement, one would awaken the heavenly Peng's bloodline hidden in one's body. If one could see a real heavenly Peng or consume its blood essence, it would be more beneficial for awakening the heavenly Peng's bloodline. However, the heavenly Peng was a top saint beast and traveled the world. It was extremely difficult for even the 10 great saint sects to capture a heavenly Peng alive. Naturally, observing a real heavenly Peng was just an extravagant hope. The first step of cultivating the bloodline awakening technique is to create a saint beast's divine soul in the spiritual world, using the divine soul to trigger the bloodline power in the body to awaken it. The difference between a technique awakening and an independent awakening is the directionality. With a direction, a specific target, and a target, awakening is naturally easier. However, since the path has been chosen, it can't be changed. On the other hand, an independent awakening is because one doesn't specifically create a saint beast's divine soul. After awakening one's own bloodline, one can cultivate the awakening technique again and create a divine beast's divine soul, achieving dual cultivation. Xing Hui's mind fell on the sword intent that was as brilliant as the rising sun in his mind. That was the sword intent of the Dongyang Sword Codex. He wanted to see what kind of bloodline talent he would awaken when he condensed the sword intent of the Dongyang Sword Codex to the extreme. Among the 3 pills left behind by Cultivator Golden Light, 2 of them are used to sharpen one's true qi spirituality and raise one's cultivation level to the 4th stage of immortality, spirit and qi as one. The 3rd one is the regeneration pill, which is a holy healing medicine. With this medicine as a backup, even if the 2nd stage of recovery can't save one's body from the 3rd stage of liberation, the regeneration pill can save one's life. Thinking of this, Xing Hui directly took out a regeneration pill and swallowed it. He had already cultivated the sword intent and had a deeper understanding of the Dongyang Sword Codex's method of self-liberation. His control was more precise. Coupled with the regeneration pill, it was not difficult for him to achieve the 3rd stage of liberation. Crackle, crackle. As Xing Hui began to achieve the 3rd stage of liberation, the bones all over his body made light sounds. The blood in his body was like a torrent that went out of control, collapsing wantonly. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. When his strength reached its peak, his body moved. The refined edge sword in his hand stabbed out dazzling sword shadows. Meanwhile, his limit was constantly increasing and breaking through the upper limit of the 2nd stage of liberation. Finally, when Xing Hui stabbed out 186 times in one breath, the intense pain of his body being on the verge of collapse swept over him. However, this kind of collapse was within Xing Hui's expectations. The regeneration pill's medicinal effect and the stage 2 recovery effect worked together, allowing his body to continuously regenerate when it collapsed. Every time it was regenerated, it was also a limit breakthrough. At the same time, the Dongyang sword intent in his spiritual world was like a rising sun that scattered thousands of golden lights. It shone from the spiritual world to the physical world, causing the qi and blood in his body to become hot and fierce. After spending 3 days, Xing Hui stabilized his 3rd stage of liberation. It took another 3 days for him to completely recover. Just like that, he had already spent 9 days in the Divine Armament Tower. It was 6 days later than the 3-day deadline given to the Demon Hunters Union. After the cultivation matter came to an end, Xing Hui stood up and walked out of the courtyard that Exen Long had arranged for him. "Young master, congratulations on coming out of seclusion. Your cultivation has improved greatly." As soon as he walked out of the courtyard, Exen Long immediately came up to him. "Has the Demon Hunters Union sent the 500,000 gold coins?" Exen Long was slightly startled. "No, the Demon Hunters Union didn't mobilize large-scale funds." "Young master, didn't you say that the 3-day agreement was to give the Demon Hunters Union a way out?" "Let's go to the Demon Hunters Union." When Exen Long heard that, he immediately exclaimed, "Young master, you can't do that. I've investigated the Demon Hunters Union. More than half of the blood transformation grandmasters who were scattered in the past 9 days have returned. Now, there are more than 30 grandmasters entrenched in the Demon Hunters Union. More than 30 blood transformation grandmasters. Not only that, the president of the Demon Hunters Union, Wu Zhenyuan, also led the most elite hunting team back to the Demon Hunters Union this morning. Wu Zhenyuan is a 1st stage of immortality grandmaster who has been famous for a long time. The Demon Hunters Union he leads specialize in hunting spirit beasts whose adult combat power is equivalent to that of an awakening grandmaster. They are extremely tyrannical. If young master really attacks the Demon Hunters Union, Wu Zhenyuan will definitely retaliate. In my opinion, young master should either invite Miss Naylan Fei to directly suppress him until he doesn't dare to talk nonsense, or avoid him and wait for a year or 2. As long as young master can refine the level 3 divine armament, Wanxiang sword, killing Wu Zhenyuan will be easy. 1st stage of immortality grandmaster. Since Tsing Hui cultivated to the second stage of Sword Saint, no one had been able to force him to make a move. Now that he had advanced from the third stage of liberation to the third stage of Sword Saint, he needed to confront a real first stage of Immortality Grandmaster to test his limits. Wu Zhenyu was the best choice. Chapter 32. Wu Zhenyuan came at just the right time. Xen Long immediately guessed Tsing Hui's purpose and suddenly said in surprise, "Does young master want to fight with Wu Zhenyuan?" Tsing Hui nodded. Triple release. His physique had already surpassed the limit of a blood transformation expert. In the Son of Chaos interface, his attack, defense, and speed had all reached the 12th level. Because he had comprehended the sword intent, his spirit level had risen from the 31st level to the 34th level. He didn't know how this attribute compared to an Awakening Realm expert, but he could conclude that it wasn't something a blood transformation expert could possess. Young master, you can't. The Eternal Life Realm and the Blood-Changing Realm are two different worlds. Although the Blood-Changing Realm is powerful and is known to be able to defeat an army of thousands, when faced with an army of thousands, only death awaits. However, the Awakening Realm of the Eternal Life Realm is different. An Awakening Realm expert can easily defeat an army of thousands. Give him some time, and he can slaughter an army of tens of thousands. Ordinary blood-changing realm experts don't even mention 8 or 10, even if dozens of them swarm up, they are still not an Awakening Realm expert's match. 6 years ago, there was a large gang that moved unhindered in Luoshui. There were a total of 36 halls, and each hall master was a blood-changing grandmaster. Including the experts in the headquarters, there were 48 people in total, and their power was monstrous. However, because such a large gang offended an Awakening Realm expert of the Eternal Life Realm, he rushed into the headquarters during a meeting and killed all 48 blood-changing grandmasters. Even if my father is not good at fighting, when he occasionally practices, he can easily defeat 30 blood-changing realm experts of the Dragon Chant Island. Tsing Hui shook his head. At this time, Qing Hong's voice came from outside. "Lord, Prince Tsing Hui, Miss Yu has come to visit?" Xen Long wanted Yu Shanshan to persuade Tsing Hui, so he said, "Invite Miss Yu in." After the order was given, Yu Shanshan's voice quickly came from outside the courtyard. "Tsing Hui, quickly leave with me. After Miss found out about you, she sent a message to Senior Sister Ran, who happened to be passing by. Senior Sister Ran's flying boat will stop at the Luo Lin Royal Capital's airport in 2 hours and bring us back to the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect. Once we reach the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, even if the Demon Hunters Guild is extremely daring, they won't dare to behave atrociously again." Seeing that Yu Shanshan had arrived and even invited a Hunyuan Heavenly Sect legacy disciple, Xen Long breathed a sigh of relief and hurriedly said, "Gongzi, with your talent and potential, as long as you cultivate patiently, you will be able to step into the immortal stage one day. Once you enter the immortal stage, it will be easy to deal with the Demon Hunters Association branch of the Lorraine Kingdom. If you are willing to show your potential and become an elder's disciple, you only need to give an order and someone will take care of everything for you. Why risk your life today? Please follow Miss Yu back to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect first." What happened? Yu Shanshan couldn't help but look at Xen Long. "Prince Tsing Hui wants to challenge President Wu of the Demon Hunters Associations." "President Wu? Wu Zhenyuan?" Yu Shanshan was slightly startled, and then she shouted in disbelief, "Cho Tsing Hui, are you crazy? Wu Zhenyuan is the president of the Demon Hunters Association, an awakening stage existence who has stepped into the immortal stage for more than 10 years. Moreover, it is said that he awakened not the most ordinary vicious beast bloodline, but the bloodline of a spirit beast. Even an ordinary awakening stage powerhouse may not be his opponent. Even our Hunyuan Heavenly Sect's legacy disciples and ordinary deacons are not willing to easily offend such a character, let alone you, a blood-changing stage cultivator? Do you really think that you are invincible just because you can defeat a few blood-changing stage cultivators? Wu Zhenyuan is a giant-level figure who is in charge of a region. He is far from being someone you can provoke now. Come back with me. If something happens to you, how can I explain it to Miss Yunqing, and how can I explain it to Miss Yunqing?" As Yu Shanshan spoke, She reached out and pulled Xing Hui straight out of the Divine Armament Building to the outer courtyard of the Divine Armament Building. Xing Hui frowned as he was pulled by Yu Shanshan. Just as he was about to break free, Qing Hong ran in with a panicked expression. Seeing Xen Long, she shouted from afar, "Building Master, people from the Demon Hunters Association are coming to our Divine Armament Building. They have already entered the Ing Garden." Ah! Didn't the Ing Garden respond? He is the first guest of the 10th Prince's residence, an invincible figure who has stepped into the immortal stage. How dare the Demon Hunters Association be so presumptuous in his territory? Xen Long frowned. President Wu Jinyuan of the Demon Hunters Association went straight to the 10th Prince's residence as soon as he came back this morning. Now that he has brought people to our Divine Armament Building, he must have reached some kind of agreement with the Ing Garden. What? Xen Long's body shook violently. You mean, the leader of the Demon Hunters Association is President Wu Jinyuan? He personally led a team here? Yes. In addition to him, there are dozens of blood-changing grandmasters. The Demon Hunters Association is too powerful. Even the Ing Garden is unwilling to offend the Demon Hunters Association for us, so she didn't stop them at all. Damn it, Wu Jinyuan actually came to our door. It seems that they had this plan long ago. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gathered all the blood-changing realm experts in the Demon Hunters Association in the Imperial City in the past few days. Prince Xing Hui, let's leave quickly and go to the airport. The airport is an important place. If there is any damage, the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect will hold them responsible. The Demon Hunters Association definitely won't dare to behave atrociously there. Xen Long exclaimed in a low voice with a panicked expression. Where do you think you're going? At this moment, a vigorous voice came from outside the Divine Armament Building. The sound waves were deafening, causing the faces of many guards in the Divine Armament Building to change drastically. Not long after, they saw over 100 vigorous figures rushing over from outside the Divine Armament Tower, completely surrounding the Divine Armament Tower from inside out. In every direction, there were several blood transformation realm cultivators leading over 10 viscera refinement realm cultivators to surround the tower, making it impossible for the people inside the Divine Armament Tower to escape. As the Demon Hunters Association surrounded the Divine Armament Building, a middle-aged man with a sturdy body and a fierce and ruthless aura stepped into the courtyard. Wu Jinyuan. Xan Long's expression changed when he saw the man who resembled a fierce beast. Xan Long? This has nothing to do with your Divine Armament Building. Step aside and let us capture them. Wu Jinyuan looked at Xen Long and said, Father, that's Cho Xing Hui. Wu Ju, who had followed him into the Divine Armament Building, stepped forward and suddenly pointed at Xing Hui, who was not far behind Xen Long, with Qing Hong, Yu Shanshan, and the others. He's the one who killed my son? Before Wu Jinyuan could reply, Xian Yu, Xian Tong's father and the captain of the first Demon Hunter team, had already roared and brazenly pounced forward. He stepped out quickly, and a wild beast-like aura erupted from his body as he charged straight at Xing Hui. Little bastard, give me back my son's life. When he saw Xian Yu directly attack Qing Su, Xen Long roared out furiously. He drew his sword and stabbed out. It turned into a cold streak of light, crushing Xian Yu's savage and terrifying aura in a single stroke. It caused the air to be filled with sword qi as it radiated with sharpness. Xian Yu's cultivation was tyrannical, and his body had integrated a large amount of fierce beasts and even spirit beasts' blood essence. Although he had yet to awaken and step into the immortality realm, his physique was far superior to ordinary blood-changing realm experts. However, Xen Long himself was not weak either. He cultivated the high-grade holy technique Sky Pring unhindered art and had a fierce divine armament. When the palm and sword collided, a muffled sound was heard in the air. Bang! Blood splattered. Relying on the divine armament, even if Xen Long's cultivation was slightly inferior to Xian Yu's, he was still able to repel him with one strike. By the time Xian Yu stood firm, several bloody marks had already appeared on his palm. Seeing that Xen Long actually dared to make a move and injure one of his capable generals, Wu Jinyuan burst into a shout, his eyes glaring fiercely. Xen Long, how dare you? Do you really think that I will give you face just because you have Dragon Chant Island backing you? Retreat immediately and don't make a mistake. Otherwise, I'll flatten the Divine Armament building today, cripple your cultivation, capture you alive, and bring you to Dragon Chant Island to punish you. Chapter 33. Xen Long's expression changed. Just as he was about to retort, he had to admit that Wu Zhenyuan was speaking the truth. If the Demon Hunters Association wanted to deal with Dragon Chant Island, it wouldn't be difficult at all. For a moment, he could only turn his gaze to the lady behind Wu Zhenyu. She was dressed in palace attire and exuded a dignified and elegant aura. Miss Nangongyu, is your Ing Garden not going to do anything when my Divine Armament Tower is in trouble? Now that the Demon Hunters Association is here, where is Garden Master Nangong? The lady in palace attire, Nangongyu, stepped forward and bowed slightly. Tower Master Xan, I'm here on behalf of my father to inform you that this is President Wu's personal grudge and has nothing to do with our Ing Garden. If Tower Master Xan cooperates with President Wu, he naturally won't do anything to your Divine Armament Tower. However, if you try to stop him, then you'll have to bear the consequences. Xen Long bellowed furiously, your Ing Garden takes 20% of every transaction with my Divine Armament Tower. Now that the Divine Armament Tower is in trouble, this is your Ing Garden's attitude. Good, this is really very good. I've finally seen through your Ing Garden's face. Nangong Yu's pretty face carried a hint of coldness. Tower Master Xen, watch your words. Be careful that trouble comes from your mouth. Beside Nangong Yu, a youth with a feather fan and a silk headband shouted in dissatisfaction, how can you, Xen Long, tell us what to do? If you're dissatisfied with our Ing Garden, just move the Divine Armament Tower out of our Ing Garden. Do you think our Ing Garden cares? Miss Nangong Yu, young Master Nangong Ting, since this Divine Armament Tower refuses to be controlled, then today, our Demon Hunters Association will clean up the place for you. Xen Long dared to injure the captain of our Demon Hunters Association's first team, Xian Yu, and obstructed me from capturing the murderer of our Demon Hunters Association's members. He's clearly provoking our Demon Hunters Association. Today, I'll capture him alive, break his arms and legs, and bring him to Dragon Chant Island for compensation. Haha, I heard that Dragon Sword Island's Master Xen Jian is proficient in refining. It just so happens that my brothers lack ranked divine weapons. If Dragon Chant Island doesn't give us 8 or 10 ranked divine weapons as compensation, our Demon Hunters Association will not let this go. That's right, our brothers must each have a ranked divine weapon. With a ranked divine weapon, it will be much easier for us to kill those spirit beasts. We won't have to lose 1 or 2 brothers every year just to kill those spirit beasts. Wu Zhenyuan's words immediately caused several blood transformation experts of the Demon Hunters Association to respond. Each of them had fused with a large amount of ferocious beasts and spirit beasts' blood essence. They looked extremely ferocious, and their battle prowess far surpassed that of ordinary experts who had undergone blood transfusions. Tower Lord Xen, I've given you a chance. You're on your own now. Although Nangong Yu felt that the people of the Demon Hunters Union were vulgar, the Demon Hunters Union was powerful. Even Ing Yuan could not afford to offend them, so she could only turn a blind eye. After she finished speaking, she glanced at Xing Hui who was behind Xen Long, shook her head, and turned around to leave. Ing Yuan, Xen Long's face became very unsightly. Without the help of Ing Yuan and the others, how could the Divine Armament Tower block the Demon Hunters Association? President Wu, the grudge between you and Xing Hui has already been settled. Miss Mu and young Master Wu have personally acknowledged this. Why do you still have to be so overbearing? Seeing that Xen Long was helpless, Yu Shanshan hesitated for a moment before she finally gritted her teeth and stood up. If Xing Hui was really captured by Wu Zhenyun, he would be in a life-and-death situation. How would she explain it to Zhui Yunqing and Miss Nailan Fei? Wu Zhenyuan tilted his head slightly and his gaze fell on Yu Shanshan. When he saw that she had not even reached the blood transformation stage, he immediately sneered. Who do you think you are? Do you have the qualifications to speak here? Yu Shanshan's face suddenly flushed red, but she suppressed the humiliation in her heart and said, I am a disciple of the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, the maid of Miss Nayland Fei, a true disciple of the 304 true disciples. I thought some great figure had come. A maid of a true disciple who is not even ranked in the top 100 dares to talk nonsense in front of me. Do you really think you can be considered a great figure just because you're a fox using the tiger's might? Slap your own mouth. Otherwise, you will die here today like Cho Tsing-hui. Wu Zhenyuan sneered, as if he did not care about the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect's true disciples at all. It seems that you really want to die? Before Yu Shanshan had time to speak again, Wu Zhenyuan's eyes had completely turned cold and murderous. President Wu, when it's possible to let people off, one should spare them. Didn't Prince Tsing-hui reconcile with young Master Wu after learning of young Master Wu's identity? Why are you still so unforgiving? Xan Long said in a low voice. Reconcile? You want our Demon Hunters Union to compensate 500,000 gold in 3 days? Wu Ju stepped forward and said coldly, That's just a way out. Didn't Prince Tsing-hui not come to the Demon Hunters Union in the past 9 days? How can there be such an easy thing? Disaster comes from the mouth, and one has to pay the price. 9 days ago, our Demon Hunters Union paid the price and lost 3 blood transformation grandmasters. Even Captain Xian Yu's son died at his hands. Now, it's time for him to pay the price for what he did 9 days ago. The Union of Demon Hunters is not an unreasonable force, Li Yao said. At this moment, Mu Zhenjin, who had come with Wu Ju, stood forward as well. She looked at Qing Su and said, Since you want us to compensate you with 500,000 gold, we'll do the same to you. Moreover, our Union of Demons has lost 4 people. As the price, we'll sever your limbs. That's more than enough to show the benevolence of our Union of Demons. Hearing this, Wu Ju's eyes couldn't help but light up. Cutting off all 4 of Zhuo Qingshu's limbs and rendering him a cripple who could neither live nor die was obviously more intimidating than killing him with a single sword strike. Let's do as Zhenjin said. Do you want us to do it ourselves, or do you want to do it yourself? We'll be happy to do it for you. Wu Ju sneered. You're going too far, Yu Shanshan said angrily. So what if we're bullying you? Wu Ju arrogantly stepped forward and shouted wantonly. Pointing at Tsing-hui, he shouted, Cho Tsing-hui, stand out for me. Don't stand at the back like a coward. Didn't you ask me last time why I could humiliate you so righteously? Now I'll tell you. Because we're strong enough. Our Demon Hunters Union can easily dictate your life and death. Your life is in our hands. If we tell you to kneel, you should kneel obediently. If we tell you to slap yourself, you should slap yourself. Even if we want you to die, you still dare to say half a word of no. Hearing such arrogant words, Yu Shanshan and Xen Long were furious and humiliated to the extreme. Even Nangong Yu and Nangong Ting's expressions were somewhat unnatural. On the other hand, Wu Zhenyuan laughed wantonly and agreed. Not bad, not bad. This is my son, Wu Zhenyuan. This is the style of our Demon Hunters Union. In the world of dire beasts, the weak must unconditionally obey the strong. Humans are just fully evolved dire beasts. Naturally, they have to obey the laws of nature. Our Demon Hunters Union is far stronger than you. If I tell you to live, you'll live. If I tell you to die, you'll die. There's one thing I seem to have told you. At this time, Tsing-hui finally stepped forward. Passing by Yu Shanshan and Xen Long, he slowly said, Between me and the Demon Hunters Union, the real powerhouse is not your Demon Hunters Union, but me. Prince Tsing-hui, okay, you can leave. Tsing-hui waved his hand and interrupted Xen Long's words of persuasion. His gaze passed Wu Ju and Mu Zhenjin and fell directly on the leader of the Demon Hunters Union, Wu Zhenyuan. Praisal. Wu Zhenyuan. Cultivation Realm. Awakening Realm. Attack level, 13, Defense level, 14, Speed level, 12, Spirit level, 13. Chapter 34. Mu Zhenjin looked at the approaching Tsing-hui and shook her head regretfully. If you knew this would happen, you wouldn't have done it. 9 days ago, you would have just kowtowed and apologized, and everything would have been fine. It's a pity that there's no medicine for regret in this world. You're finally willing to come out. I thought you were going to hide behind someone else for the rest of your life. Wu Ju, on the other hand, couldn't stop laughing. He had been waiting for this moment for the past 9 days, and now he was finally about to get what he wanted. He would soon be able to personally see the man who had brought him great humiliation 9 days ago wagging his tail and kowtowing before him. Ju, watch out. Before Wu Ju could finish his wanton laughter, Wu Jinyuan's shocked shout came from behind him. The next moment, a sharp light that could pierce through his body and soul came tearing at him, carrying an aura like the blazing sun. It seemed to want to grind him into ashes from the inside out. Tsing Hui had made his move. He stepped forward, drew his sword, and unsheathed it. The tip of his sword was pointed at Wu Ju, who was laughing the most wildly at the front. The sword light broke through the air, carrying with it a brilliant aura that completely filled everyone's vision. Kid, die for me. Roaring thunderstrike. Tsing Hui made his move, and Wu Jinyuan followed closely behind. A soul-shaking roar mixed with a monstrous aura erupted from Wu Jinyuan's body. Wu Jinyuan, who had awakened the bloodline of the spiritual beast Thunder Tiger, seemed to have transformed into a terrifying spiritual beast that could shake the forest and sweep away thunder and lightning. He punched out with a thunderous boom, fiercely colliding with Tsing Hui's lightning-fast sword. The air around the fist exploded, forming a circle of ripples visible to the naked eye. Bang! The tip of the refined edge sword collided with Wu Jinyuan's equally sturdy gloves. For a moment, a violent hurricane erupted from the center of the collision, tearing in all directions. Tsing Hui, who had stabbed out with his sword, was hit by the power contained in Wu Jinyuan's strike. His bones crackled as he flew back. After landing on the ground, he couldn't help but take 6 steps back. Every step he took shook the entire courtyard, causing the tiles of the Divine Armament building to buzz. Cho Tsing Hui! Prince Tsing Hui? Seeing Tsing Hui, who had launched a sneak attack on them, being sent flying by Wu Jinyuan's fist, Yu Shanshan and Xan Long's hearts suddenly went cold. Sure enough, the awakening realm was powerful. Even a monster like Tsing Hui, who regarded master-level powerhouses as nothing, was no match for him. Good Father is mighty. How dare you sneak attack me? Beat this little bastard to death. Guild leader is invincible. As expected of someone who has awakened the bloodline of the Thunder Tiger. Even an ordinary awakening realm powerhouse wouldn't dare to take this punch. Wu Ju, Xian Yu, and the rest of the Demon Hunters Union couldn't help but shout in excitement. However, the excitement on their faces did not last for long. What happened next made their smiles freeze on their faces. Cracks appeared on Wu Jinyuan's glove, which was at the level of medium grade 1, and dark red blood flowed out from the cracks. Drops of blood dripped to the ground and quickly dyed the ground red. Wu Jinyuan, who was confronting Tsing Hui, was shocked. You buzz? Retreating 6 steps, Tsing Hui's body shook slightly. A tiger's roar and a dragon's roar came from his body. Most of the power that had penetrated his body was directed to the ground. Coupled with the majestic vitality brought by the second-order recovery, he was able to completely recover in less than 2 breaths. His body shook, and he once again stabbed at Wu Jinyuan at full speed. The sword vibrated and tore through the void. As Tsing Hui's sword flew forward, the air was like a wave that was split apart, scattering to both sides. Swordsmanship. Meteor. Seeing Tsing Hui's swordsmanship closely follow, Wu Jinyuan did not have time to think about how a blood transformation expert could have such a cultivation base. He immediately roared again, and the blood chi in his body was completely mobilized. The terrifying fiendish aura of the lightning tiger was condensed to the extreme and poured into his fist. He brazenly met Tsing Hui's sword. His figure moved, and he was like a real spirit beast that pounced forward. One man and one sword collided once again. Bang! Fist and sword collided, and fist energy and sharp chi crazily burst out in all directions. A terrifying rebound force blasted the 2 people's bodies, fiercely shaking them at the same time. Wu Jinyuan's fist energy exploded into Tsing Hui's body, and at the same time, Tsing Hui's sword qi also pierced his body, causing him to feel as if a sharp sword was constantly shuttling through his blood vessels and muscles. But Wu Zhenyuan, who had experienced hundreds of battles, would not let this trivial pain affect his strength. His 14th rank defense and tempered willpower allowed him to fiercely suppress the pain in his body, and a new round of punches erupted from his body. Tiger roar thunder. Rumble. Following his punch, it was as if thunder had exploded in the center of the courtyard, shaking some of the weaker people present. With him as the center, the floor in a 3-meter radius was instantly shattered into pieces. In the time it took to shake and strike, his punch had already broken through the blockade of Tsing Hui's divine sword and arrived in front of Tsing Hui with the power of a thunderbolt, not giving him the slightest chance to withdraw his sword to defend himself. If Tsing Hui hadn't undergone his third awakening 9 days ago and hadn't cultivated the rock unhindered technique, he wouldn't have been able to avoid this punch. But at this moment, with the strength that broke the limits of the human body and the imitation of the rock unhindered technique, he was able to twist his body and dodge most of the punch. But even so, the terrifying force contained in this punch still blasted Tsing Hui's shoulder. This punch was like a cannonball explosion, instantly tearing the clothes on his shoulder to shreds, and the sound of bones breaking lightly resounded in all directions. It was as if his entire arm had been shattered by this punch. Die! Wu Zhenyuan, who had gained the upper hand, roared again and used some kind of mysterious sound attack technique, causing his voice to be like a thunderclap, causing everyone to feel dizzy and eardrums to hurt. During this period of time, he charged over viciously once again and threw a punch. With the brutality of his fearlessness, it enveloped Ching Su viciously. This is the end. Dragon Tiger Hegemony. Fearless of death. This was the biggest impact of the battle between Tsing Hui and Wu Zhenyuan. Wu Zhenyuan had been fighting vicious beasts and spirit beasts all year round, so the combat skills and fist techniques he cultivated were filled with fearless savagery. Every punch and every strike strived to maximize the damage and kill the opponent. As long as he paid a certain amount of injury in exchange for the greatest result, he didn't care about getting injured at all. Because he wasn't familiar with this fighting style, when the two collided, Tsing Hui was actually suppressed. However, that was just now. Fearless of death? Between him and Wu Zhenyuan, the one who had the qualifications to be fearless of death wasn't Wu Zhenyuan, but Tsing Hui. His second stage recovery allowed him to have a unique advantage when it came to exchanging injuries for injuries. This could be seen from his battle with Yuan Yang. His fourth stage comprehension allowed him to be far more sensitive to battle situations than before. After realizing the characteristics of Wu Zhenyuan's tactics, Tsing Hui's eyes suddenly became incomparably fierce. Seeing Wu Zhenyuan rush forward again like a fierce tiger pouncing down the mountain, he no longer dodged. Instead, he changed the fingers of his left hand into a fist and brazenly met Wu Zhenyuan's thunderous strike. Bang! A terrifying collision broke out between the two once again. Fist against fist. Flesh against flesh. One awakened the Thunder Tiger bloodline, as if there was a spirit tiger hidden in his body. The other broke his own limit 3 times in a row, reaching the third stage of liberation, far surpassing ordinary people. When the two collided head-on, a deafening clap of thunder seemed to ring out in the courtyard. The airflow in the void was compressed at a speed visible to the naked eye. When it reached a critical point, it exploded and turned into a hurricane that swept in all directions. A huge pit was formed in the ground, tearing the courtyard outside the Divine Armament Tower into pieces. Chapter 35. Prince Tsing Hui has such strength? Looking at Tsing Hui, who was facing Wu Zhenyuan, Xen Long couldn't help but step forward in shock, unwilling to miss any details of their confrontation. That's an awakening realm expert who has awakened a spirit beast bloodline. It's not a dire beast bloodline, but a spirit beast bloodline that's even more tyrannical than a dire beast bloodline. Yu Shanshan's eyes widened. Not only them, Wu Ju, Mu Zhenjin, Xian Yu, the many blood transformation realm experts of the Demon Hunters Union, and even Nangong Yu and Nangong Ting, the son and daughter of Ing Yuan's master, were all dumbfounded. They originally thought that with Wu Zhenyuan personally taking action, even if Cho Tsing-Hui's swordsmanship was superb and could treat blood transformation realm experts as nothing, he would not be able to escape the fate of being killed on the spot. But now, when the two really fought, they found that Cho Tsing-Hui's strength was not inferior to Wu Zhenyuan's by much. He, a blood transformation realm grandmaster, was actually able to fight Wu Zhenyuan, an awakening realm expert of the longevity realm. He was completely weaker than any awakening realm expert. Impossible. This is impossible. My father must not have used his full strength. The one who will win will definitely be my father. Wu Ju growled, his eyes bloodshot. Mu Zhenjin, Xian Yu, and many blood transformation realm experts of the Demon Hunters Union looked solemn as they stared unblinkingly at the two sides in the battle. The battle that could have been said to be a one-sided battle had actually undergone a sudden turn of events, and the final outcome had already become confusing. Crack! The terrifying force contained in the Dragon Tiger battle for hegemony slammed down and penetrated Tsing-Hui's body, shaking his internal organs and causing them to bleed. Tsing-Hui spat out a mouthful of blood. If it were a moment ago, he would have retreated to draw the force into the ground to reduce the damage to himself. But the short confrontation just now had allowed him to see through Wu Zhenyuan's fighting style. Like a tiger in a spurt of energy. The Tiger of Thunder was the most powerful. Unstoppable. This was an awakening realm expert. This was a true expert who could test his own limits. If he retreated, not only would he not be able to push himself to his limits, but Wu Zhenyuan's momentum would also become stronger and stronger, and the final blow would be enough to crush him into dust. Once he was able to stop Wu Zhenyuan's accumulating momentum, he would be able to weaken Wu Zhenyuan's attack. At that time, his counterattack would be twice the result with half the effort, and he would be able to reverse the situation. Tsing-Hui's momentum, buzz. His entire body groaned, as if he couldn't bear the burden. However, just as his body was groaning in pain, a clear stream of energy surged out of his body and dissolved the pain. It allowed him to withstand the recoil of Wu Zhenyuan's attack. After resisting the force that could almost destroy his body, a brand new force was stimulated by the Dongyang Sword Codex's method of stimulating potential. The sword light of the sharpened sword swept out and shrouded Wu Zhenyuan with brilliant sword intent. Scram! Wu Zhenyuan roared. His aura, which had been slightly weakened after being blocked by Tsing-Hui, once again rose. Even in the face of Tsing-Hui's sword, he did not dodge. Instead, a surge of blood and qi surged out of his body and fiercely collided with Tsing-Hui's sword. Boom! Sword light vibrated. The horizontal slash of the sword was blown away by this punch. However, Tsing-Hui had already anticipated that his sword would face a thunderous strike. In fact, he didn't use much strength in this strike. On the contrary, he used Wu Zhenyuan's thunderous strike to unleash his true strength. The moment the sword was struck, it spun 360 degrees like a whirlwind and slashed down at a speed far faster than before, ruthlessly chopping at Wu Zhenyuan's body. A single slash had doubled the power. Not good. Such swordsmanship caught Wu Zhenyuan off guard. He had no choice but to let out a low roar and explode with qi and blood. The floor beneath his feet shattered as he retreated. Once he retreated, his aura dissipated. Rip! The 360-degree slash of the sword tore a huge hole in Wu Zhenyuan's chest. Crimson blood spurted out along with the sword's sharpness. Buzz! Before the slash of the sword had exhausted its strength, Tsing-Hui had already controlled it to fiercely shake and stabilize it. Wu Zhenyuan, who was retreating, did not have time to launch a new round of attacks. The meteor-like sword had already pierced his body, causing blood to spurt out. Wu Zhenyuan roared. His right hand tightly gripped the blade of the refined edge sword that had pierced into his body. The friction between the glove and the blade caused dazzling sparks to burst out. Get out of here! A terrifying force erupted from his body like a volcano soaring into the sky. The refined edge sword that had pierced into his body and had yet to pierce through him was brazenly pulled out by Wu Zhenyuan's roar. Vibrate the sword! It was impossible. Tsing-Hui's eyes lit up. The moment the refined edge sword was pulled out by Wu Jinyuan's qi and blood, it had already begun to shake violently. In an instant, the glove that Wu Jinyuan was using to hold the refined edge sword cracked open again, causing crimson blood to spurt out continuously. "Break for me!" Wu Jinyuan's anger soared as he roared. His ferocious and terrifying aura was displayed to the extreme. Seeing that the glove was about to be shattered by Tsing Hui's refined edge sword, Wu Jinyuan actually poured all the strength in his body into the right hand that was holding the refined edge sword tightly, and then exploded with all his strength. Bang! The first-level mid-grade glove exploded. Then it exploded, and the first-level low-grade refined edge sword. The sword broke. Oh no. Oh my god! Yu Shanshan, Xen Long and everyone else could not help but cry out when they saw how vicious Wu Jinyuan was, going as far as to trade a mid-grade gauntlet for a Green Ruins low-grade divine artifact to take him down with himself. A swordsman's sword broke. What did this mean? It meant, buzz buzz? Tsing Hui's eyes lit up. The refined edge sword was broken in the hearts of Wu Jinyuan, Xen Long, Yu Shanshan, and everyone in the Demon Hunters Union, but in Tsing Hui's eyes, it would never break. The iron sword could break, but the sword of the spirit would never break. Die. In the next moment, the broken refined edge sword shot out a brilliant sword intent, and actually burned the blood and qi in Wu Jinyuan's right hand that was holding the sword into ashes. Without the blood and qi to suppress his body, his right hand was instantly minced into a bloody pulp by the sharpness of the refined edge sword. Then, the brilliant sword intent carried the broken sword into Wu Jinyuan's body, penetrating all the way to the hilt. Wu Jinyuan's eyes widened. The refined edge sword was broken, and the door to victory was opened for him, but in the end, looking at the refined edge sword that pierced into his body and into the hilt, time seemed to have frozen. Everyone was stunned as they looked at Wu Jinyuan, who was penetrated by the sword. For a moment, no one could react. Even Nangong Yu and Nangong Ting, who were supposed to be outsiders, felt their hearts tighten. Lose? The Demon Hunters Union was going to lose? Get lost. The spectators were stunned by the tragic battle in front of them, but the experienced Wu Jinyuan was still unwilling to admit defeat. He roared and punched Tsing Hui's chest with his left hand, breaking Tsing Hui's ribs and sending him flying like a cannonball. But at the same time Tsing Hui's body flew out, his right foot followed up with a fierce kick, and the place he kicked was the hilt of the refined edge sword. Bang! Tsing Hui heavily smashed into a pillar of the divine armament building, breaking the pillar and shattering the bones. And the half of the refined edge sword that pierced into Wu Jinyuan's body was shot out by Tsing Hui's final kick, creating a bloody hole in Wu Jinyuan's body. With a dark red light, the sword fiercely shot into the beam of the outer courtyard's gate. Wood chips flew all over, and the sword hilt was buried. Chapter 36. Father. President. Tsing Hui. Seeing the two of them fly out at the same time, the Demon Hunters Association and the Divine Armament Tower quickly rushed up. Among them, the Demon Hunters Association was the first to support Wu Jinyuan, while Xen Long, Yu Shanshan, Qin Hong, and the others quickly rushed to Tsing Hui's side. Knowing that Tsing Hui had the regeneration pill, Xen Long immediately took out the bottle and gave it to him. Father. Wu Ju stared at the bloody hole in Wu Jinyuan's chest. His eyes were filled with terror. This kind of injury, even an awakening realm expert would die without a doubt. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? Mu Zhenjun looked at the dying Wu Jinyuan, her face filled with pain. At this moment, she finally had a trace of regret in her heart. She regretted not stopping Wu Ju and Wu Jinyuan from taking revenge on Cho Tsing Hui. Otherwise, this scene would not have happened. Go. Go. Wu Jinyuan struggled to speak to Wu Ju with his last bit of strength. Defeated. He was defeated. He would die without a doubt. Once Cho Tsing Hui recovered, an awakening realm expert would bring a devastating blow to them. I won't go. Wu Ju cried out in pain. Then, as if thinking of something, he suddenly stood up, pointed in the direction of Tsing Hui, and shouted to the many blood-changing realm experts of the Demon Hunters Association, "Kill him! Kill him! He is now an arrow at the end of its flight. Kill him and avenge the president. Xian Yu was the first to react, immediately echoing loudly, "Kill him, take revenge for the president." No one can bully the Demon Hunters Association. Anyone who dares to bully the Demon Hunters Association must die. Kill. The rest of the blood-changing realm experts reacted one after another. They were furious, and one by one, they released their blood qi and rushed towards Tsing Hui. Not good. When Xan Long saw dozens of blood transformation experts swarming over, his face immediately turned deathly pale. "Miss Yu, Qinghong, you guys take Prince Tsing Hui and leave quickly. I'll delay them for as long as I can." Manor Lord Xan, although Yu Shanshan didn't know why Xan Long was willing to risk his life to save Tsing Hui, her mission was to protect Tsing Hui first. Thus, she nodded heavily, "Tower Master Exit, take care. Let's go." "No need." At this time, Tsing Hui, who had just swallowed a regeneration pill, opened his eyes. He swept his gaze over the dozens of blood transformation martial scholars who had quickly surrounded him. There wasn't the slightest bit of panic in his eyes. "They're just chickens and pottery dogs. Since they still don't want to give up, I'll make them completely despair." "Prince Tsing Hui," Xan Long wanted to say something, but Tsing Hui had already stood up. Even though the injuries on his body were also extremely serious, the Stage 2 recovery pill and the medicinal effects of the regeneration pill allowed him to already have the strength to fight. Furthermore, divine art. As Tsing Hui connected with the interface of the Son of Chaos, a brand new energy suddenly appeared in his body. In an instant, it filled his severely injured limbs and bones. Not only did this energy cause his strength to skyrocket, it also had a localized restorative effect, causing his originally heavily injured body to heal even faster than before. "Do you think you can kill me like this?" Tsing Hui looked at the martial scholar experts surrounding him and stretched out his hand. Xan Long didn't hesitate to hand over the ranked divine weapon in his hand to Tsing Hui. In the next moment, Tsing Hui's figure flew up and faced the dozens of blood transformation martial scholars from the Demon Hunters Association. Like a stream of light, he charged into them, "Xiao." The sword light pierced through the air. The blood transformation martial scholar who bore the brunt of the attack didn't even have time to see the shadow of Tsing Hui's sword before the sharp edge of the sword cut through his throat. Dark red blood splattered across the sky, opening the prelude to this one-sided slaughter, "Xiao." With a flash of sword light, the head of the second martial scholar expert flew high into the air. Even in death, he was still in disbelief. One sword, one person, one sword, one person. Tsing Hui's figure constantly shuttled back and forth under the siege of dozens of blood transformation martial scholars. The trajectory of the sword was like an antelope's horn, completely natural. Dozens of martial scholar experts swarmed forward, but not a single one of them was able to block his sword. As long as he charged forward, there would inevitably be a storm of blood. This kind of exquisite swordsmanship, as fast as lightning, far exceeded the reaction and attack of blood transformation martial scholars. It completely crushed ordinary blood transformation martial scholars. At this moment, Tsing Hui's methods were even more terrifying than when he fought Wu Zhenyuan. It was as if the battle with Wu Zhenyuan was just a warm-up and he hadn't gone all out. 3, 4, 6, 10, 15, in less than 10 breaths. More than half of the 40 blood transformation martial scholars of the Demon Hunters Guild had fallen. Seeing the blood transformation martial scholars being easily slaughtered by Tsing Hui as if they were vegetables, Wu Ju, Mu Zhenjin, Xian Yu, and the others, who originally wanted to take advantage of Tsing Hui and Wu Zhenyuan's mutual injuries to kill them, suddenly felt a chill run down their spines. Despair. This was a kind of strength that made one despair. Just like the Luo Shui gang in the past, there were a total of 48 blood transformation martial scholars. They were awe-inspiring, but a single longevity martial scholar killed his way into their headquarters and wiped out all 48 blood transformation martial scholars. At this moment, the blood transformation martial scholars of the Demon Hunters Guild deeply felt the despair and suffocation of the Luo Shui gang. But, run, Wu Zhenyuan, who hadn't completely breathed his last, looked at the many experts of the Demon Hunters Guild who were completely slaughtered and spat out 3 words with difficulty. These 3 words completely woke up the dumbfounded Wu Ju, Mu Jinjin, Xian Yu, and the others. In the face of an awakening martial scholar who still had combat power, the only thing they had to do was to run for their lives, the faster the better. At this time, everyone thought of the words Tsing Hui said at the beginning. Between the Demon Hunters Guild and me, the real expert is not your Demon Hunters Guild, but me. At that time, they had sneered at this sentence, thinking that it was just Tsing Hui's arrogant words that did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. But now, they truly understood that everything Tsing Hui said was not false at all. It was just that they had been blinded by the false strength of the Demon Hunters Guild over the years, so they could not judge the situation clearly. When faced with a real top expert, they were directly defeated by the other party with a crushing force. Only then did they suddenly woke up, but it was too late. Relying on his strength, Xian Yu took the lead to rush out. Before he could step out of the gate of the outer courtyard of the Divine Armament Building, a fierce aura had already completely enveloped him. He only had time to see a sword light coming at him from the corner of his eyes, and then he felt something strange in his throat. The next moment, dark red blood spurted out from the vital part of his throat. Xian Yu covered the vital part of his throat, as if he wanted to stop the blood from flowing out of his throat. Unfortunately, how could his hands stop the blood from flowing out? In the end, his whole body was completely swallowed by darkness and coldness. Did I say you could go? At the same time, Tsing Hui's figure appeared at the gate of the outer courtyard, stopping Mu Jinjin, Wu Ju, and the others who were planning to escape. At this time, only a dozen of the 40 or so blood transformation realm experts of the Demon Hunters Guild had been killed. The remaining dozen or so were all scared out of their wits. Their faces were filled with panic, and their hands and feet were slightly trembling. They did not dare to act rashly anymore. Looking at the dozen or so blood transformation realm experts of the Demon Hunters Guild behind them, and then looking at Tsing Hui in front of them, who seemed to be in a better and better state, Wu Ju and Mu Jinjin finally fell to the ground in despair, their legs weak and their faces pale. Defeated. The Demon Hunters Guild of the Lorraine Kingdom was completely defeated by one person with one sword. A crushing defeat. Chapter 37. Are you satisfied with this result? Tsing Hui stood at the door and glanced at the corpses in the courtyard. His gaze then swept over Wu Jinyuan, Wu Ju, Mu Jinjin, and the dozen or so surviving grandmasters of blood transformation. Wu Jinyuan's eyes were full of regret. If they had known that Tsing Hui had such strength, they wouldn't have dared to come to the Divine Armament Building to denounce him and bring disaster to the Demon Hunters Union. But now it was too late. The strong are respected. I have nothing to say. I only hope, Qi. Tsing Hui's figure flashed and his sword pierced through Wu Jinyuan's throat. If you have nothing to say, then don't say it. Wu Jinyuan's eyes widened. The words he was about to say were suddenly stuck in his throat and he couldn't spit out half a word. In the end, he breathed his last, "Father." Wu Ju let out a sorrowful roar. The pillar in his spiritual world suddenly collapsed, and an unprecedented fear filled his soul. His father, the president of the Demon Hunters Union, Wu Jinyuan, was dead. Without Wu Jinyuan and his identity as the son of the president of the Demon Hunters Union, what was he, Wu Ju, worth? Tsing Hui pulled out the sharp sword from Wu Jinyuan's throat and looked at the others. At this moment, the Grandmasters of Blood Transformation and Viscera Refinement elites of the Demon Hunters Union were all silent. Where was the arrogance they had before? Even the two siblings, Nangong Yu and Nangong Ting, felt their hands and feet go cold. They stood still and didn't dare to move, for fear of angering this fierce god in front of them and bringing disaster to Ying Yuan. Wu Jinyuan. He was a terrifying existence who had awakened the bloodline of a spiritual beast. Even their father, Master Ying Yuan, wasn't sure he could defeat him. Now, such a big shot who was on an equal footing with their father was killed by Tsing Hui with a single sword strike. This scene shocked the two of them so much that they almost turned around and fled. Mu Jinjin noticed Tsing Hui's gaze and couldn't help but shiver. She opened her mouth but didn't know what to say. After a while, she said with difficulty, "Prince Tsing-hui, my father is the president of the Demon Hunters Union of the Sacred Ocean Kingdom. I can't kill you?" Tsing-hui's gaze fell on Mu Jinjin. The Saint Sea Kingdom was a neighbor of the Lorraine Kingdom. It was also one of the 24 countries under the Hunyuan Heaven sect. It was slightly stronger than the Lorraine Kingdom, but not by much. No. Mu Jinjin's face was filled with fear and humiliation. She lowered her head, not daring to meet Tsing-hui's eyes. "I hope that Prince Tsing-hui will give me a chance for my father's sake, give me a chance to redeem myself. I am willing to pay 500,000 gold to beg Prince Tsing-hui for forgiveness. But I am also willing to take out money to atone for my sins." Wu Ju, who was standing at the side, trembled as he spoke. "There's nothing wrong with what you did to protect your sister's face. However, how cruel is this kind of indiscriminate killing? Before the war, Exen Long once said that where it's possible to spare people, one should spare them. All of you disdain these words. Then, at this very moment, what qualifications do all of you have to ask for forgiveness in front of me?" As soon as Tsing-hui finished speaking, Wu Ju and Mu Jinjin's faces turned ghastly pale. Mu Jinjin's throat was directly pierced through by a sharp sword. Blood spurted onto Wu Ju's face, causing him to immediately cry out in fear. "Don't kill me, I beg you, don't kill me." Wu Ju no longer cared about his image as he begged miserably. "You're very lucky." Ching Su said, "It's because of you that I truly understand the laws of survival in this world. As a result, I'll give you 1,000,000 gold coins and sever an arm, and you can live. Compared to me being defeated and falling into your hands, your fate is already many times better." "I understand." Wu Ju's eyes were filled with joy, as if he had just escaped death. The next moment, he clenched his teeth and fiercely pointed at his left hand. Crack! Accompanied by the sound of bones shattering, his left hand drooped down. His face was drenched in sweat from the pain. "We will definitely deliver it to you on time within 3 days. Don't do the same thing thrice. I hope you won't make the same mistake a third time. We won't dare to do it again. Everyone, break one of your arms." Tsing-hui once again glanced at the other members of the Demon Hunters Union and said indifferently. For a moment, from the blood-changing grandmasters to the viscera-refining experts, all revealed bitter expressions, but no one dared to disobey. The 30 or so corpses of grandmasters in the courtyard were the fate of those who disobeyed. In less than a breath's time, the sound of bones shattering could be heard incessantly, echoing outside the building. Looking at these arrogant and domineering elites of the Demon Hunters Guild who had just arrived, one by one, being forced to cut off their arms in order to survive, Exen Long and Yu Shanshan immediately felt proud and elated. One by one, they stood up straight and stared at the miserable crowd. Just a moment ago, these elites of the Demon Hunters Union were still pointing fingers in front of them. But now, President Wu Jinyuan, First Captain Xian Yu, and the daughter of the president of the Demon Hunters Union of the Holy Ocean Kingdom, Mu Jinjin, were dead. Only 11 of the blood-changing grandmasters who had killed their way into the Divine Armament Tower were still alive. How awe-inspiring and domineering was this person to beat the Demon Hunters Union of the Lorraine Kingdom into submission? For the first time, Exen Long felt that following such a master was not a bad thing. The strong were respected. Prince Tsing-hui is actually so tyrannical. He's only at the blood-changing realm. I wonder what kind of opportunity he had, Yu Shanshan muttered to herself as she watched Cho Tsing-hui subdue a Demon Hunters Union branch by himself. She only felt that this Prince Tsing-hui was full of mysteries. Thinking back to her previous indifferent attitude towards Tsing-hui, her heart was suddenly filled with worry. Prince Tsing-hui was so outstanding. Once he entered the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he would definitely become the left and right arms of the young Mississippi. At that time, if he was dissatisfied with her performance these days, her days would be very difficult. When Nangong Yu and Nangong Ting saw the people from the Demon Hunters Union leave one after another, the two of them suddenly felt uneasy. After hesitating for a while, Nangong Yu stepped forward and carefully bowed to Tsing-hui. Prince Tsing-hui, our Ing Yuan had no choice but to make such a decision. The Demon Hunters Union is very powerful, and my father is not in Ing Yuan. Us juniors simply do not dare to disobey. Xing Hui ignored Nangong Yu, who was carefully apologizing. He turned to Xan Long and said, "How much profit has the Divine Armament Building turned over to Ing Yuan over the years?" Xan Long seemed to know what Xing Hui wanted to do. He sneered, "No less than 1 million gold. Since Ing Yuan is unable to fulfill her obligations, then spit out all the profits you took from Ing Yuan. 1 million gold, not a single gold less. If you can't make the decision, then go ask your father, the owner of Ing Yuan. Or, you can try. Ing Yuan can't afford to offend the Demon Hunters Union branch in the Lorraine Kingdom, but can they afford to offend me?" 1 million gold. A trace of anger appeared on Nangong Ting's face. Just as he was about to say something, he was pulled back by Nangong Yu. Prince Xing Hui must be joking. Prince Xing Hui is a peerless figure who single-handedly suppressed the Demon Hunters Union in the Lorraine Kingdom. How can our Ing Yuan dare to offend you? 1 million gold, I'll go prepare it now. Prince Xing Hui, please give us some time. 3 days. Yes. Nangong Yu responded and bowed gracefully. We'll raise the money immediately. We'll take our leave first. After speaking, she hurriedly pulled the indignant Nangong Ting out of the Divine Armament Building's outer courtyard. Prince Xing Hui, you gave them 3 days, but Senior Sister Rant's flying boat will arrive in the afternoon. At that time, you'll have to go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect. How will you collect the debt? Yu Shanshan hesitated. When did I say I was going to the Hunyuan Heaven sect? You're not going to the Hunyuan Heaven sect? Yu Shanshan was slightly taken aback. But Miss Zhu Yunqing and Miss Nailin Fei are both in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Prince Xing Hui already has such a rich accumulation in the blood transformation stage. Once he goes to the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he only needs to consolidate for a few days and pass the Hunyuan Heaven sect's assessment. He will immediately be bestowed with a top true art. If he makes contributions, he will even be bestowed with a saint technique. At that time, he will awaken his bloodline and step into the immortal stage. Nailin Fei is only a true disciple and doesn't occupy a peak. The resources in her hands are limited. In addition, she needs to cultivate. Cultivating one person is already the limit. Let her cultivate Zhu Yunqing. I can cultivate by myself. You don't have to worry about this. If it was in the past, Miss would be at a critical stage in her cultivation. But the last time I contacted Miss, I learned that Miss has finally taken that critical step. It said that she was received by the sect master and was rewarded with many treasures. It won't be difficult to cultivate one more person. She took that crucial step. Did she break through in her cultivation? Yu Shanshan nodded vigorously, with a sense of honor. However, Xing Hui still shook his head. I've made up my mind. That's it. I'll go back and report to Mississippi. When the time comes, Miss will send someone and Miss Yunqing to personally take you away. Chapter 38. The royal capital of Lorraine had a population of 1 million, and there were countless forces entrenched in the royal capital. However, there were only a few that could truly be called the upper forces. The royal family was naturally the largest force. Below them, the 4 most promising candidates for the throne, the eldest prince, the 3rd prince, and the 12th prince were also part of the upper forces. Behind them were the other princes and princesses, the Demon Hunters Association, the Ing Garden, the Hunyuan Pavilion, the Cloud Forest House, and the metal element of heaven and earth. Therefore, such a big change in the Demon Hunters Association, the death of President Wu Jinyuan, and the death of more than 40 blood transformation grandmasters, swept through the entire royal capital like a storm. For the first time, the name Chou Xing Hui was known by the people of the royal capital. Especially when everyone thought that Xing Hui would take the Hunyuan Heaven sect's flying boat to the Hunyuan Heaven sect after severely damaging the Demon Hunters Association. Unexpectedly, he stayed in the royal capital and did not leave. For a time, the Divine Armament Building, which had not yet moved out of the Ing Garden, gradually became lively. Father, do we need to visit them? At this time, inside the Ing Garden, on a walkway not far from the Divine Armament Building, Nangong Ting's face was full of resentment. He's just a villain who's intoxicated by success. He doesn't even know what kind of mistake he has made. Do you think the Demon Hunters Association's money is so easy to take? The Demon Hunters Association's branch of the Lorraine Kingdom is only one of the 9 branches of the Demon Hunters Association. There is only one powerhouse in the association, but in the headquarters, there are as many powerhouses as there are clouds. The number of awakening stage powerhouses is in the double digits, especially the president. Not only is he omnipotent, but his cultivation is also unbelievably tyrannical. It is said that he has already stepped into the 2nd level of the immortality stage. Once the Demon Hunters Association gets angry, they will send powerhouses to kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Only death will await Cho Tsinghui. If we go there now, people will think that the Inn Garden is afraid of Cho Tsinghui. What do you know? He glared at Nangong Ting and said, the Lorraine branch has the support of the headquarters, but Cho Tsinghui also has someone behind him. Moreover, it is the talented true disciple Nalan Fei. Now that he has shown excellent talent, Nalan Fei will definitely bring him to the Hunyuan Heaven sect to be her right-hand man. This Nalan Fei is not only extremely powerful, but the Nalan family is also a famous cultivation family. In their most glorious days, 2 great elders were born in the family. Even if their momentum is not as strong as before, there are still many powerhouses in the family. If the Demon Hunters Association really dares to be aggressive, Nalan Fei will definitely not ignore it. When the time comes, even if someone from the headquarters comes, they won't be able to do anything to Nalan Fei. The headquarters president of the Demon Hunters Association has eyes and eyes everywhere. He has a close relationship with an important figure in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Every year, the Demon Hunters Association's profits are handed over to that important figure in exchange for his protection. I'm afraid it won't be easy for Nalan Fei to make a move. If something goes wrong, the matter will escalate to a game between the upper echelons. Nangong Yu was also somewhat puzzled. A game between the upper echelons is no longer something that we, in Yuan, can interfere in. In Yuan can be considered a faction in the Lorraine Kingdom, but in the Hunyuan Heaven sect, what are the 24 kingdoms? Even in the Lorraine Kingdom, there are princes and grand dukes. Right now, we're just going to pay a visit and make friends. No matter what the result is, there's no harm. It's better to squash enmity than to keep it alive. Nangong Lai sighed. Hearing this, Nangong Yu understood something. In Yuan could not afford to offend the Demon Hunters Association's headquarters, nor could she afford to offend Nalan Fei. The only thing she could do was to please both sides and not offend either. After realizing this, Nangong Yu felt a little distressed. In the eyes of ordinary people, In Yuan seemed to have limitless glory and attracted the envy of many wealthy merchants and nobles. However, in the eyes of the true top factions, the little In Yuan was not worth mentioning. The 3 of them soon arrived outside the Divine Armament Building. At this moment, there were 4 people kneeling outside the Divine Armament Building, kowtowing and begging for forgiveness. Beside them, there were more than 10 trembling people accompanying them. Nangong Ting glanced at them and recognized their identities. Aren't they the Black Flame Duke, the Assistant Minister of the Ministry of Rights, and the Assistant Minister of the Ministry of War, as well as their young masters and young mistresses? Why? The conflict between the Demon Hunters Association and Tsinghui was actually caused by Gang Lai, Feng Xiu, and the others. Now that they know that Tsinghui defeated the Demon Hunters Association's Lorraine Kingdom branch, they're probably afraid and have come to kowtow and beg for forgiveness, said Nangong Yu. Nangong Yu said. At this moment, the Black Flame Duke and the others also saw Nangong Lai and the others. They immediately stepped forward and bowed respectfully. Garden Master Nangong. Garden Master Nangong, are you going to pay a visit to Prince Tsinghui? I wonder if you can put in a good word for me in front of Prince Tsinghui? Lai Gang, Feng Xiu, Ning Hua, Ning Xian, and the others, who were kneeling on the ground, were so ashamed that they wished there was a hole in the ground for them to crawl into. If they could turn back time, they would never dare to provoke Tsinghui even if they were given 10,000 guts. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Everyone, Our Garden also has some small conflicts with Prince Tsinghui. We can't even take care of ourselves. How can we care about other things? Nangong Lai sighed, not daring to agree. Garden Master Nangong is the first guest in the residence of His Highness the 10th Prince. Even if he doesn't give you face, Prince Tsinghui definitely won't dare to slight Garden Master Nangong for the sake of the 10th Prince. As long as Garden Master Nangong can help us get through this disaster, we'll be eternally grateful. The Black Flame Duke stepped forward and bowed deeply with a sincere expression. It's just a small matter. You don't have to make it so troublesome. At this moment, a voice came from the corner of the courtyard not far away. Immediately after, an elegant man with a feather fan and a silk headband strode over, surrounded by two beautiful women. Sword Rain Scholar. Nangong Lai, the Black Flame Duke, and the others exclaimed at the same time when they saw this handsome man. Sword Rain Scholar was one of the top 3 guest elders in the residence of the 3rd Prince. In the royal family, the 1st Prince, the 3rd Prince, and the 12th Prince were the most qualified to vie for the supreme throne. The power they possessed far surpassed that of the other princes and princesses. For example, Nangong Lai's cultivation was slightly inferior to Wu Zhenyuan's, but he could become the first guest elder in the residence of the 10th Prince. If he were to go to the residence of the 3rd Prince, he wouldn't even be in the top 3, let alone the first guest elder. Now that Sword Rain Scholar had appeared here, it was obvious that he was here for Tsinghui. Greetings, Mr. Sword Rain. The Black Flame Duke and the others hurriedly bowed with a respectful expression, not daring to be negligent at all. They knew that Sword Rain Scholar cared a lot about his reputation. Once someone humiliated him, he would definitely take revenge by any means necessary. Alright, get up. As nobles and officials of the kingdom, it's inappropriate for you to kneel here. Sword Rain Scholar waved his hand as he looked at the few people who were acting respectfully. But Prince Tsinghui, isn't my appearance here enough to prove something? Cho Tsinghui will soon become the subordinate of the 3rd Prince. By then, he and I will both be working for the 3rd Prince. It's nothing for me to forgive you guys for such a small matter. The Black Flame Duke, the Assistant Minister from the Ministry of Rights, and the Assistant Minister from the Ministry of War looked at each other and immediately stood up. They thanked Sword Rain Scholar profusely. Thank you, Mr. Sword Rain. We will definitely follow the 3rd Prince's lead in the future. Alright, it's good that you guys know what you are doing. I'll go and invite Cho Tsinghui now. He can't even protect himself now. The Devil Hunter Union has learned about the incident in Lorraine and is furious. They will definitely not let this go. Fortunately, the 3rd Prince thinks highly of him and is willing to give him the status of an upper guest to protect him. I don't think he will miss this opportunity. From now on, you guys will be on the same side. Sword Rain Scholar laughed and glanced at Nangong Lai. When his gaze landed on Nangong Yu, his eyes lit up. Nangong Lai, you have a good daughter. With such beauty, why don't you give your daughter to me? I'll put in a good word for you to the 3rd Prince. Who knows, the 3rd Prince might be willing to give you the status of an upper guest. Working for the 3rd Prince is better than being half dead under the 10th Prince. Sword Rain Scholar, you must be joking. Since I'm working for the 10th Prince, I'll naturally be cautious and conscientious. I'm going to visit Prince Tsinghui, so I won't talk much with you. I'll take my leave first, Nangong Lai said and quickly led Nangong Yu and Nangong Ting into the courtyard of the Divine Armament Building. Chapter 39. In the guest hall of the Divine Armament Building, Exen Long was sitting on the lower side and carefully serving the guest. On the guest seat, there was a lady wearing a sky blue dress with a classical temperament. She was holding a teacup and sipping on it. Her actions were filled with a pleasing elegance. Behind her, there were 2 maids standing silently at the side, waiting for orders. Princess Qing Wan, Prince Tsinghui is currently cultivating and is not in a good condition to receive guests. Why don't you come another day? There's no hurry. I will wait here for Prince Tsinghui. I am a lady and don't have any duties. It is fine for me to stay in the Divine Armament Building for a while. The lady named Qing Wan smiled gently. Don't tell me Building Master Exen doesn't welcome me? I wouldn't dare. Princess Qinghuan's presence brings light to the divine armament building. How could we not welcome you? Exenlong felt helpless. Mister, our building master is currently receiving an important guest. Please wait for a moment. Just then, Qinghong's anxious voice came from outside the building. It was accompanied by the footsteps of a group of people. Important guest? What kind of important guest can be compared to me, Mr. Sword Rain? I want to see. The voice outside the door was filled with dissatisfaction. Not long later, a group of people appeared in the guest hall. The leader was Sword Rain Scholar. As soon as he stepped into the reception hall, Rainstorm Scholar's gaze immediately fell on Princess Qinghuan, who was wearing a sky blue dress. He laughed. I was wondering who it was. So it's Princess Qinghuan. Is the 12th prince behind Princess Qinghuan interested in recruiting Zhuo Qingxiu? Building master, they forced their way in. We couldn't stop them. Qinghong came to Exenlong's side and whispered. It's not your fault. You can leave. Exenlong looked at Sword Rain Scholar and instantly felt a headache. He was someone that the divine armament building couldn't afford to offend. I am only here to visit Prince Tsinghui. Princess Qinghuan obviously didn't have a good impression of Sword Rain Scholar. Her expression was cold. Sword Rain Scholar didn't mind and turned his gaze to Exenlong. Exenlong, where is Cho Tsinghui? I'm here on behalf of His Highness the Third Prince. Why isn't he coming out to greet me? Prince Tsinghui is in the middle of cultivation. For the time being, he can't. How dare you? Sword Rain Scholar pointed at Exenlong and said sternly, do you know that Cho Tsinghui is about to face a great calamity? Only our third prince can save him. Right now, I'm representing the third prince to save his life. As his subordinate, you don't call him out and instead use all kinds of excuses. What are your intentions? Are you trying to kill your master? Send a message to him immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing a traitorous slave like you. You, seeing how overbearing Sword Rain Scholar was, Exenlong was enraged. However, after considering Rain Sword Scholar's tyrannical strength and the third prince behind him, he could only suppress his anger. He said in a low voice, our young master is really in closed-door cultivation. He said that he won't receive any visitors during his closed-door cultivation, bastard. Before Exenlong could finish speaking, Sword Rain Scholar had already shouted and struck out with his palm at an unimaginable speed. Exenlong might be the tower master of the Divine Armament Tower and could be considered one of the best in the blood-changing realm, but when faced with an attack from an awakening realm expert like Sword Rain Scholar, he could not resist at all. He was sent flying and vomited blood. He crashed heavily into the wall and was injured on the spot. Tower Master. Sir, Qinghong could not help but cry out when she saw Sword Rain Scholar actually daring to attack. She quickly went to Exenlong's side. Exenlong's face turned pale. His chi and blood were in chaos. He looked at Sword Rain Scholar with eyes full of anger. How dare you, unruly slave? I've already said that I'm here to save your master's life. However, you're obstructing me in every possible way. Could it be that you've secretly killed your master? No, I have to see Cho Tsinghui with my own eyes. I don't want him to be killed by you, unruly slave. While speaking, Sword Rain Scholar ignored Exenlong and quickly headed to the inner courtyard. Quickly inform Prince Tsinghui. Exenlong quickly said to Qinghong. As for himself, he quickly followed Sword Rain Scholar but did not dare to stop him. Behind him, the graceful and elegant Qinghuan region lord also followed and frowned. The spiritual imprint of a spirit and chi unification realm expert is really extraordinary. I wonder how strong a real spirit and chi unification realm expert is. Tsinghui slowly put down the rank 3 high-grade divine armament in his hand. However, I've already cultivated sword intent and my spiritual force has reached rank 34. According to my estimation, I'm not weaker than a spirit refining realm expert of longevity realm 3. To deal with the spiritual imprint of a spirit refining realm expert who died many years ago, I reckon that I'll need another 2 to 3 days to completely erase it. At that time, I'll be able to control this rank 3 divine armament. With the advantage of the divine armament, I'll be able to fight against a spirit-refining realm expert of longevity realm 2. The amplification effect of divine armaments on cultivators is extremely significant. A level 1 divine weapon corresponded to the first level of the immortality realm. It could allow an expert of the first level of the immortality realm to unleash his or her attacks perfectly. If an expert of the first level of the immortality realm wielded a level 1 divine weapon, it could increase his or her attacks by 2 levels. If an expert of the first level of the immortality realm wielded a level 2 divine weapon, it would be able to increase his or her attacks by 3, 4, or even 5 levels. If his or her blood, qi, jin qi, and battle skills were completely compatible with the divine weapon, it could increase his or her attacks by 6, 8, or even 10 levels. Similar to the rank 3 high-grade divine armament in Tsing Hui's hand, the amplification effect can reach 8 to 16 ranks. Although Tsing Hui has yet to step into the longevity realm, he already has the strength of a longevity realm expert. This rank 3 high-grade divine armament in his hand can increase his attack by at least 8 ranks. As long as the two are slightly compatible, it can unleash an amplification effect of rank 9, rank 10, or even rank 11 or 12. After looking at it for a moment, Tsing Hui put down the sword and picked up the Tai sword again. The Tai sword is a peerless sword. Although it has yet to be ranked, it is definitely one of the top swords in the level of treasured swords. The sword intent contained in the sword body adds a touch of mystery to the sword. The refined edge sword had already been damaged in the confrontation with Wu Zhenyuan, and he was temporarily unable to use the rank 3 divine weapon. He couldn't keep Xen Long's divine weapon, so he focused his gaze on the greater one sword and activated the advancement technique, Buzz Buzz. Flowing light circulated. Under the extremely profound and mysterious power of the technique of advancement, the Great One sword immediately underwent a tremendous change. Not only did the sword become more compatible with Qing Su's arm length and fingers, but its toughness and heaviness from before had also changed to sharpness and lightness. What surprised Tsing Hui even more was that the sword intent contained in the sword was actually reversed under the mysterious effect of the advancement technique. It was brilliant and vast, like a hidden scorching sun, perfectly compatible with the sword intent contained in the Dongyang Sword Classic. A divine armament upgraded by the advancement technique is as compatible with the owner of the advancement technique as possible. Tsing Hui held the Tai sword, and a feeling of connection with it surged in his heart. Since the Tai sword itself is a peerless sword, now that it has been upgraded to rank 1, it is also a high-rank rank 1 sword. Coupled with the fact that it is completely compatible with Tsing Hui, it is enough to increase Tsing Hui's attack by 3 ranks. This is also because his strength is close to the middle stage of the Awakening Realm. If he only has the strength of the Awakening Realm, the Tai sword's attack increase will definitely reach the maximum value of rank 4. Prince Tsing Hui not good. Just when Tsing Hui planned to try the mysteries of the Tai sword after the advancement technique, Qing Hong's anxious voice came from outside the door. His Highness the Third Prince's guest, Sword Rain Scholar, is here. He forced to see you despite Master Xian's obstruction and even injured her. He is now coming to the place where you are cultivating in seclusion. Chapter 40. When Tsing Hui suppressed the Demon Hunters Union 6 days ago, he expected that there would be all kinds of visits. Therefore, he rejected them all with the excuse of cultivation. Those forces were also tactful. After understanding that Tsing Hui did not want to see them, they left their gifts and left. But this Sword Rain Scholar, how dare he barge in? Tsing Hui opened the door and saw a group of people striding into the courtyard. The person in the lead was Sword Rain Scholar. Sword Rain Scholar. Cultivation Realm. Awakening Realm. Attack level, 14, defense level, 13, speed level, 14, spirit level, 12. These values were already considered to be in the middle stage of the Awakening Realm. Even Wu Zhenyuan was inferior to him. You're Cho Tsing Hui? Very well, I'm here to save your life. If you don't want to die in the Demon Hunters Union's revenge, join the Third Prince's mansion. The Third Prince's mansion has many powerhouses, including several Awakening Realm powerhouses. His mother, noble consort Rueda, is the daughter of the Myriad Swords Mountain sect master. She has the support of a large sect, the Myriad Swords Mountain. As long as you join the Third Prince's mansion and work for the Third Prince, I can guarantee that the Demon Hunters Union will never dare to act presumptuously in the Lorraine Kingdom again. Sword Rain Scholar looked at Tsing Hui, who walked out of the room, and immediately waved his hand. On the other hand, Princess Qing Yuan and Garden Master Ying Yuan, who came with him, only bowed slightly to Tsing Hui and did not say anything. Obviously, they also wanted to see how Tsing Hui would deal with Sword Rain Scholar's coercion. However, Tsing Hui obviously did not pay attention to Sword Rain Scholar. Instead, his gaze fell on Xen Long, who still had a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He injured you? Mr. Sword Rain wishes to meet you, and I tried to stop him, but I wasn't able to do so in time. That's why I taught this slave a lesson for you. You don't have to thank me for such a small matter. Oh, by the way, I've also asked the Black Flame Duke and his men to leave. The Black Flame Duke is also a duke. If he defers to the Third Prince, he will be of some help. Since we're going to work together, you have to think more about the Third Prince. Xen Long said bitterly. Swish. Before Sword Rain Scholar could finish his words, Tsing Hui attacked. The Great One Sword brought about a dazzling sword light that was like the sun rising from the east. In that instant, it filled up the void space before Sword Rain Scholar. Impudent. Seeing that Tsing Hui actually dared to attack him, Sword Rain Scholar was enraged. The sharp sword in his hand pierced out explosively. The sharpness of the sword soared into the sky and turned into waves of cold light that shot out. It caused Xen Long, Nangong Lai, Regent Princess Qing Yuan, and the others to continuously retreat. Cho Tsing Hui, I came to save your life out of goodwill, and you actually dared to attack me. You really don't know what's good for you. I told His Highness the Third Prince that he shouldn't waste time on you. Instead of trying to rope you in, why not accept the bounty of the Demon Hunters Association's divine weapon and capture you and bring you to the Demon Hunters Association? That way, he would be able to receive the bounty and become friends with the Demon Hunters Association. This is also the reason why I came in and didn't want to talk nonsense with you. Now that you dared to attack, it's exactly what I wanted. Accompanied by Sword Rain Scholar's sharp howl, the two swords instantly collided into one. Bang! Gold and iron collided, and sparks burst out. The sharpness of the two divine weapons shot out through the swords, attacking each other's muscles and veins. It made Tsing Hui feel as if his entire arm had been pierced through by the sword. With such pain, a regular awakening expert would definitely feel their arm go numb. Even if they could attack again, their agility would definitely be affected. However, Qing Su had a second-stage recovery ability, and his talent in swordsmanship had also reached the second stage. With a slight tremble of his arm, he actually stabbed down again despite his right hand being affected. The sharp edge of his sword was like a shooting star, arriving before Sword Rain Scholar in an instant. You have some tricks, but not enough. Storm Sword Gale. Sword Rain Scholar felt the shocking sharpness of Tsing Hui's sword and his expression suddenly changed. In the next moment his sword's speed suddenly changed. Even though his arm was numb, he actually stabbed out 14 sword shadows in one breath, completely blocking Tsing Hui's attack. Sword Art Moon Rush. Boom. The sword light was vast and mighty. The 14 sword shadows that Sword Rain Scholar had stabbed out in one breath shattered the moment they collided with Tsing Hui's sword light. With Shi Feng's Tier 2 swordsmanship talent, the so-called 14 sword images were no longer a secret to him. Moving as fast as lightning, Shi Feng's soaring moon heavily struck the center of Rain Scholar's sword images. The sharpness of Shi Feng's sword penetrated Rain Scholar's body, causing blood to spurt out of his palm. He even lost his grip on his sword. Not good. I can't block it. At the crucial moment, Sword Rain Scholar tapped his feet and his body became as light as a falling leaf. He did not give Tsing Hui any chance to expand his attack. Using the power of the Moon Rush, he retreated rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the distance between the two of them had increased to 30 meters. The movement technique that Sword Rain Scholar displayed at that moment made Xen Long, who had yet to reach Awakening Realm, feel dizzy. The speed. If he used it to deal with us blood-changing grandmasters, I'm afraid we would be dead before we could even see his figure. Xan Long was sweating profusely. Even Nangong Lai's pupils shrank. With Sword Rain Scholar's current strength, it would not be difficult to defeat him. Even if the 3 Awakening Realm experts from the 10th Prince's residence worked together, they might not be able to defeat Sword Rain Scholar. If Sword Rain Scholar was already so powerful, then how powerful would the other 2 upper honored guests be? Not to mention the 3rd Prince's chief honored guest. For a moment, Nangong Lai's confidence in the 10th Prince's ability to compete for the throne was shaken. On the other hand, Princess Qinghuan's eyes flashed as she looked at Xing Hui. She seemed to be surprised by his current strength. Damn it. I studied the battle between you and Wu Zhenyuan. Although you defeated Wu Zhenyuan, it was an extremely dangerous victory. Even if you're stronger than Wu Zhenyuan, there's a limit to it. How can you defeat me? Sword Rain Scholar was forced into a disadvantageous position, and his expression was unsightly. However, Xing Hui did not intend to stop there. With a turn of his sword light, he became one with his sword and stabbed towards Sword Rain Scholar again. Compared to Wu Zhenyuan, Sword Rain Scholar was indeed slightly stronger. However, Wu Zhenyuan was a master of the way of the fist, skilled in close combat, while Sword Rain Scholar was a master of the way of the sword, skilled in swordsmanship. It just so happened that Qing Su had a talent for the 2nd level of the way of the sword, and he was an expert who had comprehended sword intent, so it was much easier for him to deal with a master of the sword than a master of the fist. Sword Rain Scholar did not see any flaws in Sword Rain Scholar's attack. It seemed that no matter where he dodged, he would have to face a thunderous attack. He had no choice but to raise his sword to block again. Bang! Flames flickered. Relying on his speed, Rainstorm Scholar once again widened the distance between them before Zhuo Qingshu could give chase. He shouted coldly, "Zhuo Qingshu, I came here to recruit you out of goodwill on behalf of His Highness the 3rd Prince to save your life. It's fine if you don't appreciate my kindness, but you actually dared to attack me. How audacious of you! I'll report this to the 3rd Prince right now. When the Demon Hunters Association comes for revenge, His Highness will have to stay out of it. You can just wait to die under their vengeance." As soon as he finished speaking, his body suddenly leaped up and rapidly changed positions in the air. He was actually planning to run away. "You want to leave after injuring my men? Do you have my permission? Stay." Qing Su bellowed out, and the force beneath his feet erupted, shooting out like an arrow. All of his vital energies erupted in the air, condensing into a dazzling sword intent on the tip of the Great One Sword. He stabbed out viciously, and immediately, it was as if a sun had appeared in the sky, illuminating the world with its brilliance. Chapter 41. Clearly, there was only Xing Hui's resplendent sword gleam in the air, but in the eyes of ordinary people, it was like the scorching sun in the sky, shining brilliantly. Especially Sword Rain Scholar, who bore the brunt of the attack. He was like snow exposed to the scorching sun as he let out a miserable shriek. Sword intent! Sword intent! This is sword intent! Swish! The sword intent was brilliant. Following Xing Hui's figure that moved unhindered, Sword Rain Scholar, who was injured by the sword intent, did not have time to react at all. His right hand that was holding the sword had already been chopped off. Chi! Dark red blood splattered in the air, filled with mournful and tragic grief. My hand, Sword Rain Scholar, who fell to the ground, held his arm. His eyes were filled with pain and resentment. Meanwhile, Princess Qinghuan and Garden Master in Garden gasped when they saw Sword Rain Scholar's arm that was chopped off from his shoulder. Sword Rain Scholar was one of the famous upper guest elders of the 3rd Prince's residence. With the Rainstorm Sword, he could move unhindered in the royal capital. He rarely had opponents in the Immortality Realm. Just by himself, he probably had the ability to destroy the entire Dragon Chant Island. If all the experts in the royal capital were to be ranked, Sword Rain Scholar would definitely be ranked in the top 30. However, Such a powerful awakening realm expert had fallen in the divine armament building today. A swordsman with his right arm chopped off probably had less than 60% of his strength left. Cho Tsinghui, you actually dared to chop off my arm. I will definitely not let you off. His Highness the Third Prince will definitely not let you off either. Sword Rain Scholar looked at Tsinghui with eyes filled with resentment. Tsinghui frowned. In the next moment his figure moved again. A sword streaked across the sky. The sharp sword gleam that carried the suffocating aura of death brazenly attacked. Sword Rain Scholar was shocked. He never thought that Tsinghui would dare to kill him after cutting off one of his arms. With a loud roar, he pushed his speed to the limit and flew out of the divine armament tower. However, after losing an arm, he lost his balance to a certain degree. Moreover, Qing Su had struck out with his sword as well, stabbing out with great speed. Even when Jian Yushu tried to dodge the attack by tumbling about madly in the air, he was still unable to avoid being pierced by the sword. When he landed on the ground again, the pain in his waist affected his strength, causing him to tumble about on the ground. No, stop, don't. Sword Rain Scholar, who was rolling on the ground, felt a great pain in his heart. However, before he could even scream, Tsinghui's sword light had already reached him again. He was so frightened that he screamed out loud. Unfortunately, Tsinghui turned a blind eye to his screams. Swish! The Great One sword was like a bolt of lightning as it pierced into Sword Rain Scholar's throat. Sword Rain Scholar's screams came to an abrupt end. You swish! Tsinghui pulled out his sword and retreated. Dark red blood spurted out from the wound on Sword Rain Scholar's throat, splattering all over the ground. Even in death, Sword Rain Scholar's face was still filled with disbelief. He never thought that Tsinghui would actually dare to kill him. He completely ignored his status as an upper-honored guest of the Third Prince's residence and killed him. Seeing Tsinghui shake his sword and shake off the blood on the sword, Princess Qing Wan and Garden Master Ing Garden both gasped. He actually killed him. Does he not fear the Third Prince's power at all? Princess Qing Wan muttered to herself. Nangong Lai, on the other hand, shuddered. This Cho Tsinghui, he was truly a madman. He did not care about the severity of the situation and dared to kill anyone. Sword Rain Scholar was an upper-honored guest of the Third Prince's residence. He was ordered by the Third Prince to invite him into the residence. However, not only did he turn a blind eye to Sword Rain Scholar's invitation, he even killed him. Where was the Third Prince's face? Even if the Third Prince was unwilling to go against Tsinghui, he had no choice but to do something to protect his reputation. Otherwise, who would dare to work for him? Thinking about how the Third Prince's estate was obviously a bit more powerful than the 12th Prince's, Princess Qing Wan hesitated for a moment and could only sigh. Young Master Qing Su, you've made a huge mistake this time. It's one thing to chop off his arm, but of all things, you shouldn't have killed him. Killing him and crippling him are two completely different attitudes. Now, even if the Third Prince isn't willing to deal with you, he has no choice but to act to protect his reputation. Since he already said that he won't let me go, why should I give him a way out? Wait for him to seek revenge? Tsinghui said softly. Young master, I think we should go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect as soon as possible. If we go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect and become its disciples, even if the Third Prince has great power in the Lorraine Kingdom, he won't be able to interfere with the internal affairs of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. No need. Tsinghui shook his head. Mr. Qing Su, I think you should leave the Imperial City as soon as possible. The Demon Hunter Union has limited power in the Lorraine Kingdom. Even if they really want to take revenge on you, they won't be able to gather enough manpower in such a short time. However, the Third Prince is different. The Third Prince has 8 honorable dignitaries in his residence, and each of them is a level 1 Awakening Realm Immortal. Among them, there are 3 honorable dignitaries, and the Sword Rain Scholar is one of them. In addition, the Third Prince also has a chief honorable dignitaries in his residence, and this honorable dignitaries is the eldest disciple of the Myriad Swords Mountain. His cultivation base is extremely high, and it is said that he has reached the peak of the Awakening Realm. As long as he can comprehend the transformation between reality and illusion, He will be able to cultivate his true qi and step into the second level of the immortal realm. Such a person is well known in the imperial city. The peak of the awakening stage. Xing Hui estimated that the awakening stage's total value had reached the 19th level. 10,000 Swords Mountain, Sword Dao Sect. He didn't know if he could rely on his rank 2 Sword Dao talent and sword intent to fight against the third prince. All in all, Prince Xing Hui, be careful. Blue Phoenix sighed as she said this. She originally wanted to recruit Xing Hui for the 12th prince, but Xing Hui killed Sword Rain Scholar, forcing the third prince to deal with him. If the 12th prince really wanted to protect Xing Hui, he would undoubtedly fall out with him. To the 12th prince, this was obviously not the time yet. Prince Xing Hui, Blue Phoenix will take her leave first. Princess Qing Luan bowed slightly. Wait a moment, do you have any information from the Demon Hunters Union? Princess Blue Phoenix was slightly startled. Prince Xing Hui, what you really need to consider now is how to deal with the third prince's anger. However, if Prince Xing Hui needs it, I'll get someone to send you the information and movements of the Demon Hunters Union later. Thank you. Xing Hui said, then turned to Xen Long and said, help me send Princess Blue Phoenix off. Princess, please. Xen Long respectfully gestured with his hand. As Xen Long and Princess Blue Phoenix left, Nangong Lai, Nangong Yu, Nangong Ting, and the others immediately felt awkward in the courtyard. Especially Nangong Lai. He originally thought that he should curry favor with both Xing Hui and the Demon Hunters Union, but in the blink of an eye, Xing Hui had actually offended the third prince. Under such circumstances, if he still dared to get close to Xing Hui, wouldn't that be courting death? Xing Hui didn't pay attention to Nangong Lai and directly walked towards his own room. The spiritual imprint on Golden Light Wanderer's rank 3 divine weapon, under normal circumstances, it would take 2 or 3 days to erase, but that was under the circumstances of tempering the sword intent, cultivating the sky rock unhindered technique, and adjusting the body's vital energy and blood. If he disregarded everything and used all his essence, energy, and spirit to attack with sword intent, one night, enough. Chapter 42. Bang! In the third prince's study, a precious vase worth thousands of gold was smashed to pieces. The third prince, Luo Tianning, who had always carried a graceful and noble aura, was now filled with rage. This is simply outrageous. This Cho Xing Hui did not put me in his eyes at all. Not only did he not accept my invitation to work for me, he even dared to kill my people and humiliate me. Does he really think that he can ride on my head and behave atrociously just because he suppressed a Demon Hunters Union branch? The third prince, Luo Tianning, was accompanied by 3 figures. 2 of these people had extraordinary cultivations with a single glance. They carried an unfathomable aura. They were the other 2 upper guests of the residence, Griffin King Zhuo Feng and Flame Devil's Tu Wandi. As for the other person, she looked to be in her 20s and was dressed rather flirtatiously. This woman's cultivation aura was only in the viscera refining realm, but Vulture Wang's Zhuo Feng and Flame Devil Tu Wandi looked at her with a trace of fear. It was obvious that she had a background that surpassed them, the awakening realm experts. Third brother, your attitude towards Cho Xing Hui has been wavering. You wanted to capture Cho Xing Hui and offer him to the Demon Hunters Union, but you also wanted to recruit him for your own use. After Rain Sword Scholar understood your attitude, he naturally did not treat this child with all his heart. I heard that when he entered the Divine Armament Tower, he was arrogant and despotic. He tried to use pressure to force Cho Xing Hui to submit. In the end, he caused Cho Xing Hui to counterattack and kill him. Luo Tianning looked at her with dissatisfaction. Sister Shuang, what are you talking about? Rain Sword Scholar went to recruit him on my behalf. Naturally, he has to show the prestige of my residence. Moreover, Rain Sword Scholar is right. The people of the Demon Hunters Union are indeed preparing for revenge. If no one comes to save him, when the experts of the Demon Hunters Union arrive, only death will await him. It seems like Third Brother is more interested in the Demon Hunters Union because the Demon Hunters Union has promised to recommend Third Brother to become the president of the Lorraine Kingdom's Demon Hunters Union. Since Third Brother has already made up his mind, why don't we just capture him directly? Why do we have to send Sword Rain Scholar over? The woman saw through Luo Tianying's true thoughts. Humph, I just saw that he was a promising talent and wanted to give him a hand. Since he doesn't know what's good for him, he can't blame me. Zuofeng, Tu Wandi, you two go personally. If he is willing to obediently surrender, then that's fine. If he dares to resist, then kill him. Since we're going to make a move, we have to make sure nothing goes wrong. We have to do it beautifully. As for the third prince, he was the strongest because he had the support of the 10,000 Swords Mountain. As the third prince deliberately spread the news that the third prince would deal with Cho Tsing-hui in 3 days spread throughout the Lorraine Kingdom. Cho Tsing-hui had destroyed the Demon Hunters Union not long ago, killing dozens of blood transformation experts and the president of the Demon Hunters Union. This had caused a huge uproar in the Lorraine Kingdom. Before this wave passed, the news of him killing Sword Rain Scholar spread. Less than 4 hours later, the news of the third prince's residence spread, pushing the topic to the peak. For a moment, almost everyone in the Lorraine Kingdom looked at the divine armament tower that had yet to move out of the Ing Garden, waiting for the tower's response. What a pity! This Cho Tsing-hui had the ability to kill Sword Rain Scholar without even stepping into the awakening realm, but he offended the third prince. In the 12th prince's residence, the 12th prince, Luo Hechuan, was regretful. Your Highness, are you not going to do anything? If you save Cho Tsing-hui, not only will you gain the favor of this young hero, but you will also have a chance to establish a relationship with the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's true disciple, Nailin Fei. Princess Qing Wan also felt sorry for Tsing-hui. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Nailin Fei, their relationship is too distant. Also, Cho Tsing-hui has a relationship with the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, but the Demon Hunters Union does too. My foundation can't be compared to Big Brother and Third Brother. I want to help, but I can't. When Princess Qing Wan heard this, she also fell silent. Your Highness First Prince, this is our chance. Several guests of the First Prince's residence gathered together to argue about Cho Tsing-hui. The chief guest, Sword Venerable Lu Yu, seemed to attach great importance to Tsing-hui. In terms of background, the Demon Hunters Union is naturally better than Cho Tsing-hui, but the Demon Hunters Union's background is not good enough, and the true disciple behind Cho Tsing-hui doesn't have such scruples. We may be able to save this person and recruit him for our own use, however. The first Prince Luo Tiancheng shook his head. I know this person. He is too cruel and doesn't know the severity of the matter. Not to mention whether he will be grateful to us for saving him and enter our residence. Even if he does enter our residence, this kind of troublemaking temperament will bring us endless trouble. Let's drop this matter. But Your Highness, it said that Sword Rain Scholar shouted, Sword Wilts before he died. It's very likely that Zhuo Qingshu has fully comprehended the sword will. A cultivator who has fully comprehended the sword will have a bright future. Does Sword Rain Scholar know what sword intent is? Rumors can't be trusted. Besides, Third Brother has made this matter known to everyone. It is hard to say whether he is waiting for us to take the initiative to jump out and fight him. Our advantage is that we have the general momentum and reputation. If we compete in strength, we will only be using our weakness to attack his strength. It will only add to the losses. Let's leave it at that. The entire Lorraine Kingdom was in turmoil because of Tsing-hui, but in Tsing-hui's courtyard in the Divine Armament Building, it was calm. However, under the calm surface, no one knew what kind of stormy waves were brewing. Chapter 43. Bang, bang, bang. Young master, young master. Sounds came from outside Tsing-hui's cultivation room. Tsing-hui, who was resting, opened his eyes. 16 hours. Tsing-hui looked at the rank 3 divine weapon in his hand. The time it took to erase the Golden Light Wanderer's spiritual brand was shorter than he had imagined. Less than a day. It should be around 10 in the morning of the second day. He had already grasped the rank 3 divine weapon at 6 in the morning. The reason why he hadn't left was because he was recuperating from the Golden Light Wanderer's spiritual brand. And now, it was about time. Come in, Tsing-hui said. Young master, I deserve to die for disturbing your cultivation. But young master, we really can't stay in the Luo Lin royal capital any longer. Otherwise, all of us will face a disaster. We should leave the Luo Lin royal capital as soon as possible. Xen Long immediately knelt on the ground and begged as soon as he entered the room. Oh, is there movement from the third prince's side? The third prince has already said that in 2 days he will send the 10,000 Swords Mountain's senior brother Wan Jianxian, High Guest Elders Wufeng, and High Guest Elder Tu Wandi to our divine weapon building to take revenge for Sword Rain Scholar. 2 more days? Xing Hui frowned. He was still waiting for the third prince to come and settle this matter as soon as possible. Xan Long was startled. He didn't know what his young master meant. Xing Hui's main purpose in coming to the Luo Lin royal capital was to buy a suitable sword. Now that this mission was completed, it was time to leave the Luo Lin royal capital. As for the third prince's accusation that had caused a great uproar, why should he care? Young master, we should immediately leave the Luo Lin royal capital and head to the Hunyuan Heaven sect to seek refuge with Miss Nailin Fei. With Miss Nailin Fei's protection, we will be safe. Xing Hui shook his head. So what if he went to the Hunyuan Heaven sect? For the time being, the Hunyuan Heaven sect would not pass on the true black hole art to him. According to his understanding, different bloodlines had different growth potentials. Although he could also consume the blood essence of saint beasts or god beasts to enhance his bloodline, he would have to pay 10 times or even 100 times the price. Xing Hui only had 10 years, and he could not afford to delay. Could it be that we have to go to the third prince's residence to apologize and reconcile with the third prince? If we do that, it would be equivalent to putting our lives in the hands of the third prince. If the third prince refuses to forgive us regarding the matter regarding Sword Rain Scholar, we would be walking right into his trap. Pack your things and get ready to leave. When Xen Long heard this, he quickly nodded. Right. Let's talk about it after we leave the Lorraine Kingdom. Every day we stay in the Lorraine Kingdom increases the danger. As for the things, this subordinate has already packed them. Packed? I remember that there are quite a number of divine weapons in the Divine Armament Tower. Right now, we are fleeing for our lives. How can we care about those things? Bringing valuables is already the limit. No need. Bring everything you need. I'll give you half a day to bring everything you need. But once we show any signs of leaving the royal capital, the third prince's residence will definitely surround us. Xing Hui shook his head and did not say anything. Instead, he raised the stage 3 divine weapon in his hand. This sword has been reborn in my hands, but it's still your spoils of war from Wanderer Golden Light. Give it a name. Xan Long was a little surprised to see Xing Hui take out the divine weapon. Immediately after, he seemed to have thought of something. Disbelief shot out from his eyes as he said with ecstasy, "Young master, you said that this sword has been reborn in your hands. Could it be?" Xing Hui gripped the sword and shook it. In the next moment, sword chi shot out from the sword, tearing a meter-long and a foot-deep crack in the ground. Sword chi? Xan Long's eyes widened. Sword chi that could only be shot out by someone at the second level of the immortality realm? A stage 3 divine weapon is indeed a stage 3 divine weapon. It's a pity that I don't know the changes in the realm of true chi, so I can't perfectly grasp the mysteries contained in this divine weapon. Xing Hui said. Seeing Xing Hui use the power of the divine weapon to shoot out sword chi, Xen Long no longer had any doubts. His body couldn't help but tremble with excitement. I can't believe that young master only used 10 days to completely erase the spiritual imprint on this stage 3 divine weapon. I thought that young master would need at least 1 or 2 years. Good, this is great. Now we are saved. With this sword, young master will have no opponents in the awakening realm. As long as the elders in the royal family don't interfere, young master will be able to do whatever he wants in the entire Lorraine Kingdom. Give it a name. Xing Hui said. Young master, seeing that Xing Hui was willing to give him the right to name such a divine weapon, Xen Long was touched. If he had been filled with resentment when he was forced to sign the Primal Chaos Oath with Qing Su, then after witnessing Qing Su single-handedly subduing the entire union of demon hunters, he had actually gained a sliver of trust in Zhuo Qingshu after countless years of upholding the principle of respect for the strong. His trust had increased by another level. This sword originally belonged to Golden Light Cultivator. Now that it has fallen into young master's hands, young master, with this sword, the Monster Hunter Union and the third prince will be like chickens and pottery dogs, not worth mentioning. Young master's soaring momentum will definitely be unstoppable. Why don't we call it Green Heaven Sword? Green Heaven. Green as in the blue sky, the sky that soars into the sky. Green Heaven. Good, from now on, this sword will be called Green Heaven. Sing Hui nodded. Go and prepare. If the third prince's people dare to stop us, I will let them know the benefits of Green Heaven. Yes. Xen Long replied confidently and quickly went to do as he was told. A third-level superior divine weapon could increase a blood-changing realm expert's attack by 9 to 18 levels. Even for Tsing Hui, who had just entered the first level of the immortality realm, it could at least increase an attack by 8 to 16 levels. The so-called 8th level increase was the lowest limit. Usually, it referred to divine weapons that a swordsman used that were completely incompatible with his own skills such as sabers, spears, and hammers. The divine weapon in Tsing Hui's hands was a divine sword. Although Tsing Hui could not unleash its full power, it was definitely not the lowest limit of the increase. At least the 10th level. It could even be the 11th or 12th level. It was because he understood this that Xen Long had such confidence in Tsing Hui. The divine weapon tower began to pack up, as if they were planning to leave the Lorraine kingdom. This immediately attracted the attention of Zuofeng, who was monitoring the divine weapon tower. Weren't you extremely arrogant when you killed Sword Rain Scholar? Now you're scared and want to leave the kingdom? Dream on. Moreover, it's fine if you want to leave the kingdom, but you're actually greedy enough to want to pack up the precious goods in the divine weapon tower. You're simply courting death. Do you really think that the third prince will just watch you leave and not send anyone to chase after you? Zuofeng sent the news to the third prince's residence while he sneered and allowed the people in the divine weapon tower to pack up. So what if they defeated a branch of the Demon Hunters Union? Since they dared to go against the third prince, they would soon understand what true despair was. Chapter 44. Half a day quickly passed. Xen Long packed up the divine armament building's valuables and filled 2 carriages. However, at this moment, there were only 6 members of the divine armament tower left on both sides of the carriage, including Qing Hong, who had always been loyal to Xen Long and seemed to have feelings for him. The rest of the people had already fled when the third prince spread the news that he planned to deal with the divine armament tower. Young master, everything is ready. We can set off at any time. Then let's go. Once you're out of the city, we'll split up. Your destination is the Eastern Cloud Empire, the strongest country under the Hunyuan Heaven sect. I want you to reopen the divine armament building there. Tsing Hui glanced at Xen Long. You're too weak. Try to awaken your bloodline on the way to the Eastern Cloud Empire. Xen Long's eyes dimmed. Without the Tai sword, he had no hope of awakening his bloodline. Breaking through to the awakening realm was indeed the best choice. Moreover, the Eastern Cloud Empire was one of the 3 empires under the Hunyuan Heaven sect's rule. The imperial capital was at the foot of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's mountain, and the royal family was unbelievably powerful. It was said that the patriarch of the royal family had cultivated Gangqi and stepped into the 3rd tier of the immortality realm. To build the divine armament building in a country stronger than the Lorraine kingdom, a blood transformation realm cultivation was clearly lacking. Don't be depressed. You cultivate the heavenly Ping unhindered art. Even if you unfortunately awaken a spirit beast bloodline, it will definitely be a top-notch one. Once awakened, you'll probably be as strong as Wu Zhenyuan. If you perform well, I may be able to obtain heavenly Ping blood essence for you in the future and help you advance further on the path of bloodline. Xen Long's spirits rose when he heard Tsing Hui's promise. Tsing Hui was a son of chaos and, from the fact that the Tai sword had suddenly transformed from a top-grade sword to a top-grade sword, it was very likely that he was a son of chaos above the 5th tier who had learned the advancement technique. A son of chaos above the 5th tier, wielding a 3rd-tier divine armament, and comprehending sword intent would definitely have accomplishments beyond his imagination. There was hope that he could obtain heavenly Peng blood essence in the future. Yes, please rest assured, young master. This subordinate will do his best. The main reason I want you to go to the Eastern Cloud Empire is to find a way to collect the Divine Codex. If there's news of the Divine Codex, you must inform me as soon as possible. Godly Codex? Long's pupils shrank. Who would have thought that his young master would be so ambitious to awaken the divine beast bloodline? Everyone, where are you going? Just as everyone was ready to set off, Zhuofeng, who had been secretly monitoring them, suddenly appeared outside the divine armament tower. Accompanying him were two Wandi and two other guests in the awakening realm, Su Jiuing and Hua Bo. Since Wang Jianxian had yet to arrive, the third prince, Luo Tianning, had sent two more guests as reinforcements. As the three awakening realm elites appeared at the same time, Xinghui sensed several pairs of eyes looking in their direction through the tall buildings around Yingyuan. These gazes, those who could make Xinghui feel something, were all important figures in the awakening realm. In fact, this was indeed the case. In the tallest restaurant in Yingyuan, the owner of Yingyuan, Nangong Lai's family, the 10th Prince Luo Jianglu, the 12th Prince Luo Hechuan, the Princess of Qingluan, and even the 1st Prince Luo Tiancheng and chief guest Luyu, who thought that Xinghui was too unruly, were there. In addition to them, there were also representatives sent by other first-rate forces in King City. On this floor, there were more than 5 awakening realm elites gathered. It seems that the third prince is finally going to make a move. He sent 4 awakening realm elites at once. What a big move! Let's take this opportunity to see how much power the third prince has in his hands. I just don't know if this Cho Xinghui can test the third prince's trump card. Your Highness, it's not too late for us to save Cho Xinghui now. I've made up my mind. There's no need to say more. The 12th prince on the side said regretfully, if Big Brother is willing to save Cho Xinghui, he might still have a chance to live. But now, with the third brother's forces moving, he will definitely die. Since 12th brother loves talents so much, why not do it yourself? The 12th Prince Luo Hechuan smiled bitterly. Big Brother, you know that I don't have many capable people under my command. How can they be a match for the third brother? If I let them go down rashly, it will only add to the losses. That's not necessarily true. 12th brother has gathered countless experts among the common people. God knows if there are any top figures among them. I think, among us brothers, you are the one who hides the deepest. Even the third prince is not as good as you. Luo Hechuan quickly waved his hand. Big Brother, you must be joking. How can I compare to Big Brother and the third brother? Luo Tiancheng shook his head and was about to say something, but at this moment, a guard suddenly said, His Highness the third prince is here. Wang Jianxian is with him. What? Wang Jianxian was actually persuaded by the third prince? I remember that Wang Jianxian usually only acts when the third prince is in real danger. It's obvious that the third prince wants to bully others. Why would he intervene? Since when did the third prince and Wang Jianxian have such a good relationship? Luo Tiancheng exclaimed. Luo Jianglu, Luo Hechuan, Princess Qingluan, Nangong Lai, and the others all looked at the guard. The guard did not dare to neglect and quickly explained, it is said that Wang Jianxian came for Cho Xinghui. His Highness the third prince persuaded Wang Jianxian with the reason that Cho Xinghui had comprehended the sword essence. Comprehended the sword essence? Luo Tiancheng was a little surprised. Did Cho Xinghui really comprehend the sword essence? Princess Qingluan pondered for a moment and said, We were there before Sword Rain's scholar died. At that time, he did shout the word sword essence. However, I'm not a swordsman, so I can't tell. Garden Master Nangong is an awakening realm expert. Can you tell if Cho Xinghui used the sword essence when he defeated Sword Rain's scholar? The intent of the martial path is extremely wondrous. It's said that it's a prerequisite for cultivating supreme qi. Only with the intent of the martial path as a foundation can one collect true qi and refine qi into supreme qi. I've never seen such power before, so I can't tell whether Qing Su used sword intent or not. Nangong Lai shook his head. Since the cultivation of martial path intent is so difficult, I think Cho Xinghui can't master it. I guess the spirit beast created by the visualization of the method he cultivates is more proficient in soul attacks. That's why Sword Rain Scholar mistook it for the Sword Rain Scholar. Luo Tiancheng waved his hand. Whether it is or not, we will know when we continue watching. Big Brother is right. It would be a pity if he was still killed by the third prince after comprehending the sword essence. Who can be blamed? Chou Tsinghui is so ignorant. Even if he doesn't die in the third prince's hands, he will sooner or later die because he offends an enemy he can't afford to offend. It's just a matter of time. That's true. In the outer courtyard of the Divine Armament Tower, Zhuo Feng and the others appeared. Tsing Hui's gaze naturally fell on him. I don't want to be enemies with the third prince. Sword Rain Scholar is so aggressive and courting death. If the third prince really doesn't let it go, don't blame me for being merciless. I will kill as many people as he sends. Impudent. Zhuo Feng's eyes sharpened. Chou Tsinghui, do you really think you are invincible? How dare you boast so shamelessly? If I want to leave, will you stop me? It's not that I want to stop you. Zhuo Feng sneered. It is young Master Thousand Swords who intends to deal with you personally. Before that, you should stay here obediently, wash your neck clean, and wait for young Master Thousand Swords to come. To be able to die under young Master Thousand Swords' 10,000 Swords art, you can be considered to have died a worthy death. So, you still want to stop me? Tsing Hui stepped forward and unsheathed the green firmament sword in his hand. Those who stop me will die. Chapter 45. How dare you take the initiative to attack? Do you really think I'm a fool like Sword Rain Scholar? Tu Wandi, Hua Bo, Jiuying Su, attack together and suppress him. Let's wait for young Master Wan Jian to come and take his life. Seeing that Tsing Hui actually took the initiative to draw his sword, Zhuo Feng shouted and attacked. He awakened the Griffin bloodline, which also belonged to the category of spirit beasts. When he pounced, his momentum was majestic, and it even stirred up the wind and clouds outside the Divine Armament building. With Sword Rain Scholar's example, Tu Wandi, Hua Bo, and Jiuying Su would not take it lightly and quickly attacked. Tu Wandi was known as the Flame Demon, and his awakened spirit beast was named Flame. It was a kind of spirit beast with the bloodline of the ancient divine bird, Bai Feng. With this bloodline, not only did he attack with blazing waves, but he also had a speed far beyond the awakening realm. The remaining two, Hua Bo and Su Jiuying, were slightly inferior. They had only awakened ordinary beasts. However, with their cultivation in the awakening realm, their attacks were still earth-shattering. If they were to fight against ordinary blood-changing grandmasters, dozens of them would be easily defeated by the two of them. Prince Tsinghui, be careful. Seeing the power of the four awakening realm powerhouses, Qing Hong, who did not know Tsinghui's true ability, could not help but scream. But soon, her scream came to an abrupt end and was replaced by disbelief. What a pity! On the tall building of the Ing Garden, Luo Hechuan could not help but sigh again. And Princess Qing Luan turned her head to the side, as if she could not bear to see Tsinghui's miserable appearance. Who can be blamed? You can only blame Chou Tsinghui for not knowing the current situation. Luo Tiancheng shook his head. After all, he's too young. In order to survive, what's the harm in kneeling and begging for mercy? If he could bear it at that time, Lu Yu's eyes were also full of regret. But soon, the unbearable, regretful, and long sigh in their eyes seemed to be suddenly frozen on the spot. Sword Chi. Swish. As Tsinghui leaped forward and unsheathed his sword, a dense sword aura erupted from the green cloud sword. It was as if it had turned into a tornado of sword aura. In an instant, it had reached the encirclement of the four awakening realm elites. Zhuo Feng, who was the first to bear the brunt of the attack, had a claw that could destroy gold and crack stone. The airflow in the void seemed to explode from his claw, but when it collided with the sword chi of the green firmament sword, it was instantly defeated. His entire palm was twisted into a bloody mist, and a shrill scream suddenly sounded. Swish! The sword chi of the green cloud sword didn't stop at all as it crushed Zhuofeng's palm. With a violent shake, the sword chi turned around and headed straight for Tu Wandi, Hua Bo, and Su Jiuying, who were approaching with surging heat. With a sweep of the sword chi rustled. Under the burst of sword light, Tu Wandi, who was charging over, no matter if he was wearing a pair of gloves or claws, or his right hand that was holding a ranked divine sword or battle saber, all of them were shattered by the sword light. Bursts of sword chi shot out in all directions, instantly cutting several wounds on the bodies of the three people, causing blood to spurt out everywhere. Ah! What kind of sword is this? A high-level divine weapon. A high-level divine weapon. He's holding a high-level divine weapon. At the same time, shrill screams came from the mouths of the several Awakening Realm experts who were besieging Zwafong. The sword chi contained in the green cloud sword pressed forward, sweeping in all directions. Even the aftermath of the sword chi made their hair stand on end. Their tempered bodies were like pieces of tofu in front of the sword chi of such a high-level divine weapon. Everything would be shattered. The sharpness of a high-level divine weapon is not something we can resist at all. Retreat! Retreat quickly! This is not fair. All kinds of shouts came from the mouths of several Awakening Realm experts. Swish! On the other hand, the first prince, the 10th prince, the 12th prince, and the garden master Nangong Lai, the princess of Green Phoenix, the sword venerable Liu Yu, and the others who were following them were all shocked. One by one, they rushed to the railings of the building and stared at the high-level divine weapon in Xing Hui's hand, their eyes wide open. A divine weapon. A high-level divine weapon. Level 3. This is at least a level 3 divine weapon. A divine sword that has reached the 3rd level? In the entire Lorraine Kingdom, only the royal family has a level 3 divine weapon as the most precious treasure of the kingdom. Now, Xing Hui actually has a level 3 divine weapon? Damn it! He actually has such a treasure in his hands? A level 3 divine weapon, and it's a divine sword that suits him as a swordsman. This is definitely enough to increase his combat strength to the 2nd level of the Awakening Realm. At this moment, whether it was the rather arrogant first prince Luo Tiancheng or the regretful 12th prince Luo Hechuan, they were all shocked. A level 3 divine weapon. For countries like the Lorraine Kingdom, it was an existence that could suppress the fate of a country. If any Awakening Realm expert had a level 3 divine weapon, they could dominate their peers. If that level 3 divine weapon was tailor-made for them, it would not be an extravagant hope to match the 2nd level of the 6th level of immortality. Now, such a divine weapon had appeared in Xing Hui's hands. Swish! Sword chi rampaged. Xing Hui's sword did not stop because of the shock of others. With one sword strike, Xing Hui severely injured 4 Awakening Realm experts. He did not give them any time to react at all. His figure flew towards Su Jiuying, who was closest to him. Before the person arrived, the sword chi arrived first. Wherever the sword tip went, the sword chi was dense. Just blocking the sword chi from the green cloud sword was enough to make Su Jiuying scream miserably. In an instant, 3 bloody wounds appeared on his body. When Xing Hui arrived in front of him, the sword chi contained in the green cloud sword had already pierced 4 bloody holes in his body. No! Swish! As the sword tip flashed, the green cloud sword cut through Su Jiuying's throat, and then, the sword chi dissipated, and a head flew into the void with dark red blood dripping from it. Buzz! Buzz! The sword shook, and not a single drop of blood was stained. Then, the sword tip turned sharply and once again stabbed towards Tu Wandi. Stop for me! Tu Wandi, who had always been fearless, could not help but scream. His figure quickly retreated, trying to avoid the sword chi. But it was no use. He could not block it at all. The sword chi soared into the sky. Xing Hui's figure moved horizontally and horizontally. The green cloud sword danced, and a sword chi shot out, cutting Tu Wandi in half from a meter away. No matter how powerful Tu Wandi was, in front of such a fierce sword chi, there was no room for him to use. After killing 2 Awakening Realm experts in a row, his figure suddenly turned and pierced through the void like a meteor piercing the moon. Boom! Hua Bo, who had already escaped from Xing Hui's attack range, suddenly froze in horror. The sharp sword chi penetrated his back, pierced his heart, and shot out, taking away his life. Afterwards, Qing Su stomped off the ground again and rose into the air. He swung his sword and retreated as quickly as possible. Zuofeng, who had already left the outer courtyard, cried out miserably as his legs were severed. No. Zuofeng, who had fallen to the ground, did not have time to scream and beg for mercy. Xing Hui's sword flew towards him. Although Zuofeng was still 6 meters away, the sword Qi on the green cloud sword had already activated on its own. Accompanied by a cold light, a bloody hole appeared between Zuofeng's eyebrows. The sword Qi pierced through his head and shot into the ground behind his head, leaving a sword mark. 4 Awakening Realm experts were dead. Chapter 46. Hiss. Seeing the 4 honorable guests of the third prince's residence, including 2 upper honorable guests who had cultivated to the middle stage of the awakening realm, were killed by Xing Hui in less than 10 breaths with the power of the divine sword, everyone on the roof of the Ing Garden building gasped. Dead? The 4 honorable guests are all dead. A 3rd stage divine weapon. This is the power of a 3rd stage divine weapon. A 3rd stage divine weapon has actually reached the level where it can stimulate Gang Qi. If it is used by an expert of the 2nd level of the immortality realm, the Gang Qi burst out and the power is more terrifying than a simple sword Qi. Why would it need a 2nd sword to kill a cultivator of the 1st level of the awakening realm? It's simply a sword Qi that disdains everything. A 3rd stage divine weapon is already so terrifying. It is said that when a divine weapon reaches the 4th stage, as long as its compatibility with the user reaches the peak, it can be integrated into the genuine Qi. I really don't know how powerful a divine weapon of that level will be. Nangong Lai, Liu Yu, and the others trembled in their hearts. In front of such a top divine weapon, their cultivation that they were proud of was like a chicken or a pottery dog, unable to withstand a single blow. It was no wonder that every time a high-level divine weapon appeared, it was easy to set off a bloody storm, and countless top experts would risk their lives to snatch it. Those high-level divine weapons had the qualifications to make them risk everything. Opportunity. Opportunity. Cho Xing Hui must have obtained a great opportunity. It is said that Cho Xing Hui's cultivation was only in the marrow-cleansing realm half a year ago, but now, without revealing his divine weapon, his combat power is not weaker than that of the awakening realm. He must have obtained a great opportunity. It is precisely because of this opportunity that he can grow from the marrow-cleansing realm to this level in just half a year. A 3rd stage divine weapon. If I can use this 3rd stage divine weapon, and with my cultivation of the top spiritual beast bloodline awakened, who in the entire royal family can be my opponent except for a few patriarchs? When the time comes to compete for the throne, who can be compared with me? Luo Tiancheng's heart was full of struggle. Brother, should we immediately report to the patriarchs? If the patriarchs are willing to help and ask for the divine weapon of the royal family, we can definitely make Cho Xing Hui stay. At that time, this 3rd stage divine weapon will be in the Luo family's pocket, and the 2 of us will have made a great contribution. It's useless. If the patriarchs really take this 3rd stage divine weapon, Nailin Fei will definitely not let it go. She will definitely kill our royal family and force us to hand over the weapon. Don't forget, Nailin Fei has a family behind her. This 3rd stage divine weapon may eventually fall into the hands of a nameless experts, or may fall into the hands of Nailin Fei, or even the Nailin family, but in the end, it will of the family, it will of our family, Luos. If he had known earlier that Zhuo Qingshu possessed a level 3 magic weapon, he would have protected him first. Then, when Zhuo Qingshu was unprepared, he would have taken the weapon for himself. At that time, it would have been a piece of cake for him to sit on the throne of the Lorraine kingdom. But now, they could only watch helplessly as the level 3 divine weapons slipped out of their hands. But the 10th Prince Luo Jianglu knew that he couldn't win against the 1st Prince, the 3rd Prince, and the 12th Prince, so he was quite open-minded and insisted on watching the show to the end. He smiled and said, Cho Xing Hui has a 3rd stage divine weapon. This is interesting. I wonder how 3rd brother will deal with Cho Xing Hui, who has a 3rd stage divine weapon. Now that 4 guests have died, and more than half of 3rd brother's experts have died. If Wang Jianxian also dies in the hands of Chou Tsinghui, then it will be interesting. The moment these words came out, the expressions on the faces of the princes became interesting. Originally, they weren't optimistic about Chou Tsinghui, so they only felt pity for Chou Tsinghui when they came to watch the show. But now, things were different. Chou Tsinghui, who had a third-stage divine weapon, could completely turn the situation around. Not to mention the guests under the third prince, even Wang Jianxian would die if he came personally. Apart from an immortal second-stage void refinement expert, who could stop Chou Tsinghui who had a third-stage divine weapon. According to what you said, I really can't wait. I just don't know if Wang Jianxian has the courage to fight against an immortal second-stage swordsman with a third-stage divine weapon. Wang Jianxian is conceited, but that doesn't mean he's a fool. A third-stage divine weapon can't be stopped by a true Qi realm expert. Unless Wang Jianxian has reached the true Qi realm and taken that crucial step, he definitely won't have the courage to fight against Chou Tsinghui with a third-stage divine weapon. We will definitely see the third prince make a fool of himself. It's a pity that the third-stage divine weapon can't be used by us. At this moment, everyone's gaze towards Tsinghui became complicated without exception. Especially Princess Qingluan. She even thought that if she had stood on Tsinghui's side yesterday, would she have been able to pull him into the 12th prince's camp? With the help of such a top figure with a third-stage divine weapon, the 12th prince would be able to suppress the first prince and the third prince. If she could persuade Chou Tsinghui to give the third-stage divine weapon to the royal family, this huge contribution would be enough to push the 12th prince to the throne. Unfortunately, at that time, she only thought that Tsinghui would definitely die. She didn't consider this. Now, it was too late for regrets. The divine sword returned to its sheath. The sharp sword aura in the courtyard dissipated. Xen Long, Qing Hong, and the rest, who were originally frightened and almost suffocated by the sword aura, heaved a sigh of relief. Too strong. The third-stage divine weapon is too strong. Just the sword aura from the sword is enough to make any immortal realm expert unrivaled in the same realm. Xen Long looked at the green firmament sword in Tsinghui's hand, his eyes filled with passion. No wonder weapon forgers have such a high status in the cultivation world. Even if it's an immortal realm expert, as long as they can refine a third-stage divine weapon, it's enough to be on the same level as the elders of the 10 great holy lands. With a large amount of third-stage divine weapons, it's easy to destroy a city. Let's go. I believe that no one will dare to stop us now. Tsinghui glanced at the surroundings. Instantly, countless terrified figures fled in all directions as if they were fleeing for their lives. The third prince naturally didn't just send the 4 great guests to keep an eye on him. Other than the 4 great guests, there were also many marrow-cleansing realm, viscera-refining realm, and even blood-changing realm people running errands. Tsinghui was too lazy to chase and kill these people. Xan Long, who received Tsinghui's order, responded respectfully and immediately waved his hand. Under the respectful gazes of the other viscera-refining and blood-changing realm experts in the Divine Armament Tower, the caravan slowly moved and headed out of the Luo Lin Kingdom. The rest of the journey was just as Tsinghui had said. It was calm and peaceful. No one came out to stop them. It was as if the vicious words the third prince had said a day ago were just empty words. Under the watchful eyes of many ordinary forces who did not know what had happened in the courtyard of the Divine Armament Tower, the small group of 8 people slowly drove out of the street and out of the city. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.